Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Langhorse Field here on campus at Elmhurst College. I'm Nate Stein alongside Rusty Lindsay. You're watching Blue Jay TV, CCIW football matchup here between the Elmhurst Blue Jays and the Illinois Wesleyan Titans. The Titans 7-1 on the season, that one loss coming in conference. The Blue Jays 2-5, 2-3 in CCIW play, and the Blue Jays have a chance to play a little bit of a spoiler role today.
Yeah, this is an Illinois Wesleyan team that's really had it rolling probably for their last 4 games. They're coming off a very hard-fought win over Carthage last week in a game that can best be described as old-school slobber-knocker football. Those two defenses just really beat the tar out of each other. Illinois Wesleyan coming up with 4 key stops on 4th down, 3 of them on 4th and 2 or shorter in their own territory. So the Illinois Wesleyan defense has this thing rolling. They're a team that ever since that win at Wheaton has been playing some pretty exceptional football and is going to come in with a defense that's going to probably look to dominate the line of scrimmage and an offense that's going to look to just put up enough. This is not necessarily a high-flying Illinois Wesleyan offense. I think the Titan fans would probably say that's been an underachieving group for them. This is an Elmhurst team that's played Illinois Wesleyan extremely tough the last couple of years, a 13-10 win for the Titans over the Blue Jays on a late field goal down in Bloomington last year. This is an Elmhurst defense that plays well when they can really confuse an offense, and that's, I think, what they have a chance to do here today.
Yeah, Rusty, you mentioned the close games between these two teams in the past couple years. This one today with the makings of pretty much the same exact story. The Titans offense just averaging 22 points per game, and as you mentioned, the Elmhurst defense at its best when it can come out and confuse the offense a little bit.
Yeah, this is going to be a test for Elmhurst's defense just because Morgan Alexander might be the best running back in the conference. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's outgaining, I believe, Austin Brunig at North Central and Cholo Olatejo at Wheaton. He's averaging over 4 yards a carry, just shy of 100 yards a game. That's only because Carthage held him under last week. So I think you're going to expect a heavy dose of number 26 today. Brandon Bowers, a dual threat quarterback, very similar to Orlando Hernandez in his athleticism. He's a more accurate passer, completing 57% of his passes. But look for Illinois Wesleyan to establish the run early today.
And right away, you see Bauer out of the gun, sends it out into the flat on the right side, bobbled and hung onto. That's number 15 for the Titans.
Mata with the tackle.
Yeah, that's Dean Zagulich, who's really been coming on recently for the Titans. And again, when Illinois Wesleyan can open up their run game with the pass, that's actually going to afford them more opportunities. That time just trying to hit those quick outs. Elmhurst will bring pressure. Elmhurst will bring pressure off the edges quite a bit, so that's going to be an opening for Illinois Wesleyan.
Bauer with the give to Alexander, off tackle to the right. He will pick up a couple, and the Titans, staying ahead of the chains, will have a 3rd and short.
Yeah, this is going to be big for Elmhurst. If they can establish a punch early and really slow this thing down. It's a cold day. It doesn't look like the wind's going to play much of a factor. 3rd and 3 here. You're playing at home. Give yourself the big momentum boost by getting off the field on a 3 and out.
It will be Bauer out of the gun. Alexander on his left hip. The give to Alexander, stretching out to the right. He's got room, 1st down and a little bit more down, and will be just shy of the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
They'll give him the 40.
This is going to come back. You're going to have a hold against Illinois Wesleyan here on the. Actually, no, I think you've got an illegal formation there. Even though Illinois Wesleyan seems to be the one clapping now, so this might be lined up in the neutral zone by Elmhurst. It is.
And then you saw Norm Ash over on the far sideline waving his team ahead, waving the chains ahead. So the Titans will get that 1st down.
That's Ogbabor just lined up too close to the ball. That's inexcusable for a corner to be. I mean, granted, it doesn't play a role because of the run, but that's just inexcusable for a corner to get called for that penalty.
1st and 10 for the Titans on the Elmhurst 40. Bauer takes the snap, fakes the give to Alexander, rolls out left into the flat for Zieglich, and that one out of his reach. 2nd and 10.
And clearly you're seeing Illinois Wesleyan wanting to get the ball into their playmakers into the flats here and take advantage of that, but that's a tough throw for a quarterback to make. Bauer's got to realize he has time there. He can set his feet better and deliver a ball into the flat that gives Zagulich a chance to make a play after the catch, not just make the catch.
Yeah, Elmhurst not in their base defense right now. You usually see them in a 3-4-4 on the line for this 2nd and long. Bauer takes the snap, fakes the give to Alexander, quick out to the right side. That's out to 81, Zach Walsh, the sophomore receiver out of Lombard, Illinois.
Yeah, and again, Illinois Wesleyan using the threat of the run game to open up the pass game here. That's play action on back-to-back plays. A lot of times when you see them line up the tight end in the backfield, they're going to set that up as a power run. And so they're using that offensive set to then get the ball into the flat quickly. That time the corner just gave Walsh way too much space. That's an easy pitch and catch for Bauer.
So Alexander joining Bauer in the backfield once again, going in motion. Anthony Ryan to the right side. Fakes the give to Alexander. Bauer looking downfield, has a man open, and that's a touchdown. Jack Healy getting the Titans on the board.
That's just a well-run route by Healy. Just cuts that thing, undercuts the safety. That's the important thing. When you run into deep posts, you've got to make sure you get underneath the safety on the cut. He does. It's well protected. Bauer had all day there. And he was really staring down his target the whole time. The safety just didn't come up to make the play on the ball. That's a very effective opening drive for Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, and Rusty, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, for a Titans offense that's looking to do just enough to keep them in this game, that's a spectacular start. Brandon Bauer leading the team down the field, capping it off with about a 20-yard touchdown pass to Jack Healy.
Yeah, anytime you're on the road and you can take the opening drive and get points out of it, that's a win. But to do so in that fashion for Illinois Wesleyan,
extra point is up and good.
Schiarini adds the extra point there. That's going to be that's a big jump for Illinois Wesleyan because their defense is so good. If you can just give their defense the lead to protect before they ever get to the field, I mean, I think that's absolutely following the script for Illinois Wesleyan.
So we'll get our first look at the Elmhurst offense after this kickoff, but a man to watch, the returner, Juwan Gaines, 2016 first team all-conference in the return game, a very dangerous player when he's taking these kickoffs.
Yeah, this is going to be key for Illinois Wesleyan. Is they're going to have to control the return game for Elmhurst with Juwan Gaines because he's an explosive playmaker when he gets the ball in his hands, and the way Elmhurst sets up their return is to make sure that he does. So Elmhurst is going to have to really be accurate with their coverage here, as they're always going to show this little onside look. You get that from Patrick Tata, who does the kicking for the Titans.
And as we see Gaines back deep, remember last season when Elmhurst started to come back before Illinois Wesleyan ultimately took the game late in the second half. Gaines was the one who sparked that comeback with a kickoff return for a touchdown. Gaines out to the left side, breaks a few tackles, will get across the 30 and be pushed out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about with Illinois Wesleyan is you have to maintain lane integrity. And that time, as you watch the return, you saw the middle 5 or 6 guys all of a sudden converge to the same point. You've got to keep your lanes on the kickoff coverage there, because that times once they suck down, there's room outside for Gaines. And one of the things Gaines does best is he sets up where the return is going to be. That time they were obviously trying to bounce it to the outside. He sets it up to the middle of the field and then bounces it out. If he can get that, as we've got whistles here before we ever start, they forgot to get the kicking tee off the field. If they can continue to set that up on a little bit of misdirection with the return, Gaines is going to have a pretty successful day.
And right away we see the Blue Jays coming out in the gun. That's Orlando Hernandez, the junior quarterback with both Holloway and Ivers. And now a pass to the left side, quick slant, complete, and out of bounds, a nice gain of 6 on first down for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and Elmhurst is going to have to copy what Illinois Wesleyan just did on their first drive. They're going to have to use run fakes to open up the passing game. If they can get things into the flat a little bit, they're going to have some success against this Illinois Wesleyan defense that will give you the flat. This is the typical bend but don't break defense for Illinois Wesleyan. So they'll give you the yards, but they're going to get tougher the more condensed they get on the field.
Same look from the Blue Jays on 2nd and 4. Motion out to the left side for Ivers. Hernandez takes the snap, give to Holloway up the gut. He picks up 1 or 2 before being forced back.
Yeah, and again, you use that first play to open up that second play. You get into 3rd and 1. You keep your offense on schedule. I would look for Elmhurst here to keep the ball in Hernandez's in hands, give him a run-pass option, give him a read, give him something that he can use his athleticism to his advantage.
Yeah, Hernandez averaging 3.6 yards per carry, 45 yards per game. As a quarterback, those are pretty solid numbers. Can do it all with his arm and his feet.
And Illinois Wesleyan's going to show pressure off the outside here. They're walking down Wilkie and Aiken, trying to look like they're going to pinch, and now they back off pre-snap.
Holloway motions out to the right. The give to Ivers up the middle.
Yeah, that's actually a give to the tight end, Jimmy Scales. 3'8", excuse me. That's the big fella Brock Bethke making the carry there. So Elmhurst kind of loading up the field here a little bit, going with their bigger back with Bethke, and that time using a little bit of misdirection with the initial motion to move the linebackers. What Illinois Wesleyan has going for them best this year is their health. They're an extremely healthy team. If you look at their two deep from where they started the year to where they are now, this defense has really stayed together throughout the year without many guys being in and out, and they're so talented up front that Elmhurst is going to have to continue to confuse the linebackers with motion.
Yeah, now a single back set for the Blue Jays. Or Hernandez steps back, takes a shot downfield, laying out, but not getting his hands all the way around that one. That was 21, Hassan Austin.
Yeah, that's a great play there. That's just right up the rail, using his speed to get past the corner, and just a little too much under that one from Hernandez. That's a ball he wants back, because that's a walk-in touchdown for Hassan Austin if he can get that on the receiving end. Austin's a promising freshman, 4 touchdown catches on the year, and he shows his speed there, just running right past the corner. And you like that from Elmhurst. You like to see them take the shot that's going to push the safeties off the line of scrimmage and really open things up underneath.
Hernandez out of the gun on 2nd and 10. Takes the snap. And that'll be a handoff to 83. That's Juwan Gaines.
Yeah, and when you've got a playmaker like Gaines, it's in your best interest to get him the ball. So that time you line him up in the backfield. You force the defense to account for him from different positional looks, and that's what you do that time. Because the other thing you run that formation with, again, if you play action, that all of a sudden you've got a matchup with a linebacker with him coming out of the backfield, and that's a matchup that plays very well for Elmhurst. If they can work that play and they look to unfold that play a little bit, you might see them run Gaines kind of on a wheel on the fake handoff and take that thing right up the sideline. And if they can get that matchup and protect it well, that's going to be a big play for Elmhurst down the stretch.
Hernandez has 4 receivers split out wide, 2 to either side, drops back over the middle, just beats a defender, and that's be a first down to Jacob Mimoser.
Yeah, that's just great protection there from the Blue Jays. You see Elmhurst is going to bring a late blitzer off the left side, and Hernandez with the presence to just take a small step in the pocket, and then he just throws a bullet into the window. Mimoser sitting down right between the linebackers there in that cover 2 look from the Titans. And Elmhurst showing a nice balance here on this opening drive. They're using the run look to open up the pass. They're running it when they have to. You like what you see from the Blue Jays here.
Same set that we saw in the last play for the Blue Jays on 1st and 10. 2 receivers split out to either side. Fakes the give. Gets it to Mimoser on a little bit of a bubble screen, but the Titans sniffing that one out right away.
Yeah, and that's just not going to be a very effective look against Illinois Wesleyan, and that benefits there. That's Jeremy Gitteroff that makes that play coming down from the safety spot. Their corners play aggressively on the ball. Their safeties will walk down and read that well. They fly around the field. That's one that if you're going to make that play, you probably want to hit it once, maybe just twice, and then look to send that blocker up on almost like a misdirection and send him up the rail there once they bite down. But that's not a play that usually has much success against this Wesleyan defense.
So 2nd and 10 for the Blue Jays. Motion to the left or to the right from Brockman. Hernandez does all he can do just to get that one away, but incomplete, and probably for the best. If Brockman got his feet in bounds, most likely going to be a loss of 1 or 2.
Yeah, Justin Krezakowski shifts at pre-snap with the motion. He shifts into the A-gap there, and he just beats his man. I mean, Krezakowski's into the backfield almost before Hernandez can get to his 3rd step, and that play never really had a chance. This is a disruptive defensive front for Illinois Wesleyan. Eric DeBose, Krezakowski, Chance Hilliard, and John Nolan. You'll see a lot of Jordan Hassan down in that front as well. And that time, Krezakowski never gave that play a chance, and it ended up being incomplete as Brockman tried to toe tap. It wouldn't have mattered. I think he actually would have lost the yard if he catches that ball.
And now we'll get a good look at what the Blue Jays can do in 3rd and long, facing a 3rd and 10 for the first time on the game. Hernandez steps up, but he is wrapped up and brought down. That's 54, Eric DeBose.
Yeah,
taking him down.
And again, they bring late pressure. They bring Aiken on an interesting stunt there. They bring him from left to right. They're twisting around the outside of the line. But that's DuBose who then pinched down, who gets himself into the backfield. Promising drive for Elmhurst. But if Illinois Wesleyan can be successful only bringing 4 or 5 and getting to Hernandez, it might be a long day for this Elmhurst offense. This is a defensive front that you want to have to commit extra numbers to get to the quarterback if you're going to have success.
Yeah, that's DeBose, 7.5 sacks on the season now following that solo takedown of Hernandez. Fair catch called for by Zieglich. down at the 10-yard line. So the Titans with a long field to go.
Yeah,
but Brandon Bauer and Morgan Alexander look like they can handle that so far today.
Yeah, that's a nice punt by Casanova there. You're dealing with a hard ball on a day like today. Temperatures floating around 40 degrees. We're fortunate we don't have much wind. It was kind of rain, snowing earlier in the day, so that ball's going to be tough to control on those kind of punt situations where you're trying to corner that thing. He does a nice job there. The wind is blowing left to right, so it'll be into the face of the Titans as they come out for their second possession of the game.
2 players in motion to the right side of the formation. Now coming back across is Anthony Ryan. Give to Alexander on first down. Cuts through, almost breaks a tackle, but that knee will be down after a gain of about 3.
Yeah, and when they go to that 2 tight end look, as they do there with Ethan Emerson and Anthony Ryan, that's almost 80% of the time going to be a run look. And that time Elmhurst kind of expecting it, but it's a nice job blocking up on the left side. And then like you saw there, the knee just barely touching down as he tried to extend that play after. If they can, I would. That's a package that Illinois Wesleyan's going to have some success with those 2 tight end looks.
Emerson, the only tight end in this formation. Bauer takes the snap, rolls right, avoids a tackler. Now he steps up. He's going to take this one himself across the 25, and he will go down at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, that's terrific football chess. As you're going to see on the replay, Elmhurst has the right defense called. Tyler Hosman coming unmarked on that blitz, rolling right into where they're bootlegging to, and Bauer reads that well. With Hosman out of the picture there, they pick it up, they just kick him out, and he steps up underneath. With him out of the picture, there's a lot of running room there. So Elmhurst calls the right defense. Bauer and Illinois Wesleyan just do a nice job countering it and making an athletic play there.
Bauer, his 58th rush on the season, had just 105 yards on the ground. Coming into this game, the give to Alexander on first down will pick up 6 yards, just running right up the gut of the defense, offset to the right.
Yeah, and this is, for Illinois Wesleyan, this is going to be their best running look, is when they can stretch the line a little bit, run this little off-tackle zone look, and let Morgan Alexander plant his foot in the ground and pick where he wants to get upfield. They're going to try to feel out where the holes are going to be for Elmhurst, and then Alexander just exploiting it there for a big gain. When Illinois Wesleyan can stay ahead of the chains like this offense starts to look pretty dangerous.
Ryan motions right. Bauer takes the snap, looking to his right, out into the flat. He's looking for Jack Healy, but that one just out of the reach of the sophomore wide receiver.
And again, that play strikes you as balance for balance's sake in your play calling. You've got the run game going. You've got Alexander starting to get into a rhythm, and then you go away from him there on 2nd and 4. That's probably an area where Illinois Wesleyan's closing in on a big play there if they can hit that, but instead try to go into the flat. Bauer just overthrowing his receiver to the sideline, and now Elmhurst has an opportunity to get off the field here and slow some of this Titan momentum.
Yeah, the Titans faced just 1 first down on their game-opening drive. Were able to convert on a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 here. Bauer takes the snap, give to Alexander up the middle, and he will not get it. Gets tripped up at the 35-yard line, so it will be a 4th and 1 for the Titans.
Yeah, that's just well defended by Elmhurst. They're going to pinch the point of attack here as you see it on the replay, coming down as they really narrow that channel that Alexander has to run. I like the play call from Illinois Wesleyan there because Elmhurst actually brought pressure away from the run, and they had it marked up, but there was enough penetration up the middle that he had to kind of get out of his lane early, and they're able to close down for a 3-yard gain when they needed 4.
So 4th and 1 will bring out the punt unit for the Titans.
Baird back to punt.
Noah Baird, 45 punts on the season. This makes 46, and this one straight up and won't even get to midfield. You can see the wind blowing that one back, and it will drop dead at the 44-yard line.
That's a 9-yard punt. So if you're Elmhurst, it doesn't get any better than this. You've got a 44-yard field ahead of you, trailing by a touchdown. By the way we look at it, the wind doesn't appear to be playing that big of a factor, but clearly once the ball gets in the air, it's going to really cause a problem because that thing went straight up. Now, granted, he did not hit it well to begin with. That ball was waffling from the beginning, but this is a big opportunity for Elmhurst. If you're Illinois Wesleyan, you've got a change of possession here in a big way for Elmhurst. I would look for the Blue Jays to maybe take a shot here on first down.
Hernandez will come out with 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end. And in the backfield next to him will be Ivers. Hernandez takes the snap, gives up the middle, and going absolutely nowhere is Ivers swallowed up at the line.
Yeah, and that's again, if you're going to run right at Illinois Wesleyan, you're not going to have a whole lot of success. That defensive line does a great job holding. It was a patient run by Ivers, but then the linebacker comes down. I think that was Hassan who comes down and actually fills that hole that he was trying to step back to. Great patience by Ivers, just better discipline by the Illinois Wesleyan defense, making sure they contained their lane and don't allow Ivers an opportunity to squeak out of there.
Inside 5 minutes to play here in quarter number 1. The Titans on top of the Blue Jays 7-0. Hernandez takes the snap on 2nd and 10. Drops back looking downfield. Instead, will drop it out into the flat, and that one right through the hands of Ivers. That's a ball you got to catch.
That's a ball you've got to catch, but you also have to make a better throw. Hernandez has the tendency sometimes when he sits in the pocket, and that's a throw that quarterbacks can get lazy on because you just assume you're going to complete it. That time he drops down, the ball sails up on him a little bit, and it goes right through the hands of Ivers. Illinois Wesleyan is giving these running backs into the flats. You're seeing the linebackers are about 8 yards deep when these running backs will leak out. So if Elmhurst wants to take advantage of that, they can. If they hit a quick hitter, you can get a wide receiver out there as a lead blocker for that kind of route. But that time Hernandez needs to do a better job of staying true to his throwing form.
3rd and 10 for the Blue Jays. Hernandez takes it out of the gun, steps up. He's going to run this one, fakes outside, cuts up the middle. Flag down right at the offensive line, so you have to assume that one's going to be a hold.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Pat Walsh who's going to be guilty of the hold. You're going to see it here on the replay.
10-yard penalty for the previous
correction, that's the center, Garrett Underwood, who got beat. And then that's what caused Hernandez to kind of high step out of that tackle in the backfield. So I like the play call there from Elmhurst. You dial up a blitz for the Titans, and instead Elmhurst counters with a quarterback keeper on a draw that probably would have put them in a position if they wanted to go for it on 4th and maybe 2 or 3 there. But now that you're 3rd and 20, you're probably looking to get into a position. I mean, there's not a whole lot of plays in the playbook. The Illinois Wesleyan defense is so strong in these situations that Elmhurst probably look for them to just probably get 10 yards and then play the field position game while you still have the wind.
Yeah, the wind, as we saw on that last punt from Baird, blowing at the Blue Jays' back. Coming across in motion is going to be Brockman. Hernandez drops back, sends a screen out wide right, and Ben Holloway will be wrapped up behind the line. So on 3rd and 20, the Blue Jays will lose a couple and face a 4th and very long.
Yeah, and I think they probably ran that play to the wrong side. If you watch that trip set to the near side that they motioned the tight end into, they actually had room to make that go on the inside. Brockman blew up the corner there, and they had strong blocking with the other wide receiver. They just ran in it's a double screen look, so you're trying to see where you have numbers. And like we talked about the first time they tried to run it, Illinois Wesleyan so strong in that game that you almost have to run that to the side where you have numbers with blocking instead of where they try to isolate guys.
So Mateo Casanova drops back, sends this one away. Fair catch called for and will be handled by Zigalich at the 27-yard line.
Yeah, and that's a missed opportunity for the Blue Jays there. Casanova's got to do a better job with that punt. That's only about looks like about 25 yards or so of field position on that punt. That's an opportunity with the wind at your back to just hit it and let your gunners take care of it. Instead, he tried to be a little too careful with it, and Illinois Wesleyan gets away from their goal line to start this drive with 3:22 left in the first quarter and already leading by a touchdown.
Yeah, not only a missed opportunity for the Blue Jays in special teams, but also on offense. Had the ball starting in Illinois Wesleyan territory and only went backwards from there. Bauer out of the gun, takes a snap on 1st down, gives to Alexander up the middle, cuts to the left, and he's wrapped up at about the 33-yard line, gain of 6.
Yeah, and again, as Illinois Wesleyan goes, or as Alexander goes, so go the Titans. When this offense can get big chunk gains like that on 1st down, they're going to be very hard to keep out of the end zone. And they made the mistake last time of getting away from Alexander. Just for the sake of getting away from Alexander, I would expect them to put the saddle on him on this drive and let him carry the load.
Ryan motions right across the formation. Bauer gives to Alexander, stretching out to the right, breaks a tackle, and he will be brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Boy, that's just excellent run contain. Getting up and setting the edge by Hosman. He's going to be the one that forces him to bounce there. Even though he doesn't make the tackle, he slows him down enough, gets him to the sideline. And then Jamari Wise, the freshman safety out of Riverside Brookfield High School, does a nice job cleaning that thing up. And again here, as time ticks down in this first quarter, you're seeing the effect the wind has on punts. This becomes a big stop here for Elmhurst, because if Illinois Wesleyan can convert here, all of a sudden you look at the clock and you say, well, we can get this thing to the second quarter and punt with the wind at our back if we can't keep the drive going.
And Hosman, 45 tackles on the year coming into this game, leading the Blue Jays defense, tied with Joe Nixon. Bauer now will drop back. This one tipped at the line, caught by Alexander, and he's very close to a first down. Looks like he'll be about a yard short.
Yeah, that's just great defense by Elmhurst, getting their hands up. Heads up play by Alexander, coming back to the ball and then trying to get it. But Elmhurst does a nice job rallying there. That's tough, because once that ball's up in the air, I mean, it's just a free-for-all. Guys can tackle each other 10 yards downfield. You see everybody swarming to where that ball's going up. Give a lot of credit to the Elmhurst defense there, coming up with a stop when they needed it most here. As all of a sudden, Illinois Wesleyan. Boy, this is the old switcheroo. This is the offense back on for Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah, and it does not look like Elmhurst had time to get their special teams unit off the field, so they're going to be forced to take a timeout. The Blue Jays spend their first timeout, 1:16 left in the first quarter, trailing Illinois Wesleyan 7-0. And Wesleyan, had they been able to get that snap off before the Blue Jays called the timeout, could have gashed them for a big play.
Yeah, it's a gutsy call by Norm Ash. I'd be surprised, actually, if he doesn't come back out with his offense again, even though it looks like they're walking their way away from the field now. And Elmhurst a little too nonchalant getting their special teams on. All of a sudden, they got the 11 on, and Illinois Wesleyan sees that they're not going to be able to get the defense back on. All 11 from the offense quickly run back out. And they force Elmhurst. Elmhurst wisely takes the time out there to preserve the field position. But for Illinois Wesleyan, I wouldn't be surprised that they're not going to, but it'd be a good situation where if you trust your running game, your defense is doing a nice job. The field's about to swing in 1:16 into the wind for Elmhurst. So that would have been a good scenario where if you can trust your defense enough there, that you maybe go for that in that situation, but instead they're going to end up punting.
Yeah, Baird back out to attempt this one again. This one a much better punt, spiraling downfield, and that will be fair caught at the 31-yard line. So after just a 9-yard punt, his first try, Baird doing much better, sending that one away and flipping the field position a little bit.
Yeah, much better punt there into the wind, and Elmhurst will take over with 1:09 left in the first. Other CCIW action, Carthage leading Milliken 7-6 with 5 minutes left in the quarter. In Rock Island, Augustana leading North Park 7-0 in the Battle of the Vikings. And North Central 14-0 over Carroll. Expect that score to get much more lopsided as the day goes on.
So the Blue Jay offense comes back out. Orlando Hernandez out of the gun, 4 receivers out wide, 2 each side. Hernandez takes the snap, drops back, looking left into the flat, and that one way off target. Hassan Austin essentially playing defense on that one.
And again, that's where Hernandez gets himself into trouble. He's a great athlete, but his throwing motion really gets himself into trouble, and that's why for his career he's only completed 49% of his passes. Coming into play today, he was at exactly 50%. For his career coming in today, 49.1%. The ball just drops, and it's that way for baseball, it's that way for quarterbacks. When the ball drops, the ball sails. And so if he can stand tall and to push off that back foot, really deliver a high football, he's going to be much more accurate with that and give his receivers chances to make plays after the catch.
Hernandez takes the step on 2nd and 10. We'll send that one to Austin McKellar, who picks up, or no, he's going to end up dropping that ball. The ref signal incomplete, would have only been a gain of 2. And now right away, Elmhurst way behind the chains, looking at a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, McKellar did the right thing going to the ground to secure the catch. He just let the ball get into his shoulder pads a little bit too much, tried to cradle it instead of actually using his hands to catch that one. So now Elmhurst finds themselves in a bit of trouble here, 3rd and 10.
The only positive here is that not much time is run off the clock, just 9 seconds. So if they are forced to punt, they'll still have the wind at their back.
Haven't seen much of Matt Brockman in this game, in the passing game. I would look for Elmhurst to try to get him involved here. He's got a nice matchup with what looks to be the safety here if they can take advantage of that.
Hernandez drops back, design quarterback draw up the middle. He will pick up 5 or 6. They're going to give him the 35. And the Blue Jays will be facing a 4th down and 6.
Yeah, Illinois Wesleyan looked like they were almost expecting that with their defensive front. They switched it up to a 3-4, dropped another guy into coverage, and Hernandez started to cut that thing back to the inside instead of bouncing it. And when you try to cut that thing back to the inside, Illinois Wesleyan does so good at rallying to the ball and tackling in numbers. There's no room to run here.
Casanova back out to punt, his 3rd sighting of the game.
Fake.
And they're going to fake this one.
What a
up the
call.
middle. And Elmhurst, tons of room, gets the first down, so much more. Down to the 35-yard line. That's Jacob Moser.
Boy, that's an excellent call by Elmhurst. Illinois Wesleyan's bringing the pressure, and it almost looked like they caught him in the backfield. Right there, they had one man, they just pushed him out, and Moser does a great job taking advantage of that. That's just excellent recognition. That's a scouting pickup by Elmhurst, that when they're going to press the line, that they're going to lose contain off that. That's really just an off-tackle run, and they sold it so well. Give Elmhurst a lot of credit. That's a play you pick up in films early in the week. And they just executed it perfectly there all the way down to the Illinois Wesleyan 34, and that'll be the end of the first quarter as they run the clock. And Elmhurst delivers a very solid punch there to end the quarter, sets himself up with a short field to work with into the wind. And you like what you see if you're the Blue Jays here after that opening drive that that Illinois Wesleyan put in the end zone.
And we're going to take a quick break for the quarter. We'll be back with the second quarter of action after this on Blue Jay TV.
Why do I go to Elmhurst College?
I'm close to everything.
I need a great school at a great price.
I'm learning about myself and my role in the world.
I love a challenge.
I'm dreaming big.
But feel totally at home. I want an education with meaning.
I want to be a champion for others. I made connections for life.
I'm ready for the real world. Why do I go to Elmhurst College?
To reach my full potential.
Coming here as a Division III player, you're coming here to get your degree. We have some players that go on to be professional athletes. They've gone overseas, but that's not the norm.
And we are back here at Langhorse Field on campus at Elmhurst College. I'm Nate Stein with Rusty Lindsay. You're watching Blue Jay TV. A fake punt puts the Blue Jays into Titan territory. Ball on the 34-yard line, now going into the wind at the start of the second quarter. Pitch out wide to Bethke, and he is swallowed up in the backfield, going to lose 3 yards on that 1st and 10 play.
Yeah, that's not a great play design for Elmhurst, because anytime you slow play the Illinois Wesleyan defense, they're going to get to the ball. That time, Britton Wilkie did an excellent job of blowing that play up. He takes on the individual block of Brockman, but he takes it out in the backfield, so he's almost at the mesh point of the pitch catch of when he gets that ball, and he's got to make a decision right away, and Brockman just can't handle Britton Wilkie, who might be one of the top 2 or 3 linebackers in this league. And he just did a great job there. 2nd and 13 now, so Illinois Wesleyan does a nice job putting Elmhurst back behind the sticks after the big play.
Yeah, and saying that Wilkie's a top linebacker in the CCIW, all the more impressive when you look at the fact that he was a first-team all-conference defensive back last season, as Brockman gets that one up the middle for a first down, gain of 15 on the play for the Blue Jays. But Wilkie, you look at what he did in the past couple years, first-team all-conference cornerback, and then after starting the season at strong safety, now making the move to linebacker and just having a great season of it.
Yeah, brag on the dog and he poops on the carpet. As that time Wilkie sinks down, which opens up the throwing lane for that pass. I mean that's a great read fake by Hernandez. He holds the ball in the gut of the running back for a long time, and Brockman just gets right into that window left open by the linebacker sucking down on the read fake.
Hernandez out of the gun. Holloway motions right. Give stretched out to the left. That's Bethke, and he will get down inside the 10 to the 7-yard line where he's pushed out of bounds. Another first down for the Blue Jays, and they're going to have 1st and goal.
Yeah, they move the linebackers away with motion by Holloway into the right, and then they run that back the near side. Hassan Austin does a great job blocking downfield, opens that up for a big play, and here the Blue Jays are knocking on the doorstep, 1st and goal from the 7. As you saw that on the replay there, all of a sudden, right before the snap, the linebackers went with Holloway away from the play and really opened that up for a big gain.
And Bethke, the sophomore running back, having himself a day, getting a lot of touches here in favor of Chris Ivers. Hernandez takes the snap, speed option out to the left side, and Hernandez is wrapped up for no gain and dragged out of bounds.
It's an excellent play by Jordan Hassan, running side to side right down the line of scrimmage. Doesn't give him any, I don't know that he really got any gain there. And that's not a play you want to run to the sideline. That's the problem. That you see Hassan work his way through traffic there. They actually blocked it up well if it weren't for Hassan, who just kind of weaves his way right there through the windows and gets to the quarterback there. But again, you run that play to the narrow side of the field. It doesn't give Hernandez much room to read blocks. He just has to he's almost using the sideline as another defender. If they run that play again to the boundary side, I think that's probably going to have some more success.
Hernandez takes the snap, looking end zone, and that is Austin laying out in the back corner but Hernandez off target.
Yeah, Koepke with great coverage there, not really giving Austin a whole lot of room. And again, when you throw that ball, Hernandez is kind of putting that ball on a line. That's a ball you want to loft a little bit. Hassan Austin at 5'10", battling Koepke at 5'10", so you don't have much of a height advantage. But you want to give your wide receiver a chance to make a play. When you really drive that ball, all he really has time to do is just kind of make a stab at it on the sideline. And so Illinois Wesleyan all of a sudden has Elmhurst looking for a field goal opportunity, and Elmhurst is going to call timeout here, really look over their playbook a little deeper.
12.5 to play in the first half of action here. The Blue Jays looking to tie things up at 7 after the Titans scored on their first drive has really just been bottled up.
Yeah, and Elmhurst has done a nice job of really limiting. Illinois Wesleyan's having success on first down. It's second down that's really been the issue for the Titans, is they're getting 5 or 6 yards on first down, and then they're not getting anywhere on 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. And like we've seen the last 2 times, you have room for error at 3rd and 4 or 5 when you don't at 3rd and 2. Because they've been, the last 2 times we've seen it, they've been getting to within a yard of the first down, just haven't been able to pick it up. For Elmhurst, they're doing a nice job slow playing. They're moving the linebackers for Illinois Wesleyan. If you want to have success running the ball against Wesleyan, you have to get them out of their base. You have to get the linebackers moving one direction or the other. That's what set up the big run there by Bethke. For this one, I think you want Hernandez rolling to his right, giving up, almost flood the right side where what they have on the outside with Mimosa, run him on a quick out, get Brockman a little bit deeper, maybe run Bethke into the flat here or motion somebody that goes a little bit deeper, but give Hernandez options here.
Yeah, it looks like man coverage on the outside. That's a favorable matchup for Brockman. Hernandez looking for him, going to lob that one up. And Brockman looking around for a flag. Yeah, he got touched.
I actually like what Elmhurst did there. They give their best playmaker an opportunity, and surprised that there's no flag here for pass interference, because there's a full shove on Brockman to get him off his spot. You see it right there as the ball is delivered. He throws his hands up in the air. I think that's
Wilkie again.
Wilkie got away with that one, but that's what we saw Elmhurst when they scored that last-minute touchdown against Wheaton. That's a lot of what they ran. They just tried to isolate the tight end into one-on-one coverage, and that time no flag, and he overthrows him a little bit.
So it will be Blake Bailey coming out to attempt a 24-yard field goal. He drives that one up and through, so the Blue Jays get on the board. Now trail the Titans 7-3, 12:25 to play in the second quarter.
Yeah, you like that if you're the Blue Jays. You like that if you're the Titans. That's kind of a win-win situation, and a little bit of what we talked about in the first quarter. With this is a bend but don't break defense for Illinois Wesleyan. They get down to 1st and goal, and all of a sudden they just bow up and make a stop and force you to 3 points. But for Elmhurst, you take the advantage from the fake punt, and you just bring that into the second quarter, and now Illinois Wesleyan, with the wind at their back, really going to need to do something on this drive to retake possession, because Elmhurst is starting to feel pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, and Blake Bailey, who hasn't been one to send the ball super deep off these kickoffs, kicking into the wind, a good chance for Illinois Wesleyan to try to capitalize. Average start line on Bailey's kickoffs is the 32. We'll see how the wind comes into play on this one.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if he just tries to run this thing up the middle. I mean, like we've seen when the ball gets into the air, it really hits a wall. And Illinois Wesleyan kind of looks like they're anticipating the same, and now they'll spread out. But I would just try to maybe run a low kick, just drive it and let the ball do the work under the wind here.
Bailey steps up, sends this one deep, and just like you said, Rusty, a low runner up the middle will be taken by Zigalich, and he's wrapped up and knocked down at the 30-yard line. They'll give him the 31, so pretty good coverage on the Blue Jays special teams.
But like we said, though, they still get the ball about to where they're giving it up at the 32, and that's the one issue you have, is that ball is going to get deep into the receiver in a hurry before your coverage unit has a chance to get downfield. I think Elmhurst did the best they could there. I think that's probably what you have to do kicking into the wind today to be successful, especially for Bailey, who doesn't put as much behind the ball as you see with Patrick Tata for Illinois Wesleyan. So I would expect Elmhurst to continue to run those kind of kicks going into the wind.
Bauer out of the gun, Alexander on his right hip. Give to Alexander, stretch to the left side, and he will be dropped at the 31. No gain available for the junior running back.
Yeah, they do a nice job right up the middle there. They try to get Mike Mulcrone, the center, to scrape and get up to the second level, but Mike Dickin blows that block up, works his way around it, And then Joe Nixon comes in and cleans it up. So that's a play that's set to go. But when Mulcrone can't get anything moving on that linebacker, all of a sudden Alexander has nowhere to go.
We'll see Bauer again out of the gun. 3 receivers spread out wide, a tight end on the line.
Pressure.
Elmhurst brings pressure, and Bauer going to be wrapped up, doesn't even have a chance to get his eyes downfield. The Blue Jays doing a really good job of just blowing that one up.
Yeah, and they got there fast. Hosman coming from the outside. They also bring Storm Miller up the middle, and I think Miller's the one that forces them to climb the pocket right into the hands of the defensive line. That's an excellent execution for Elmhurst. They stayed true to the gap integrity when they brought the blitz. And now Illinois Wesleyan with 3rd and long. And Elmhurst, this is a great opportunity because this is where you want to keep Wesleyan. Alexander's out of the picture, in that he's 3rd and long. They're probably going to keep him in as a blocker, and then you just have to protect well if you're the Titans, because Elmhurst could bring pressure.
Ziglich comes in motion across to the left of the formation. Bauer takes the snap, drops back, now steps up. Eyes downfield, going to send it to the sideline, but overthrows his man. That was 89. Brian Johnson, the intended target, a senior wide receiver from Villa Park. A pretty big target at 6'3", 200 pounds. But Bauer just sailing that one a little bit.
Yeah, tough to overthrow 6'3", but give Elmhurst a lot of credit there. That defense was dialed in on what they needed to do. They had eyes on all the receivers. They forced Bauer out of the pocket early with only a 4-man rush. And so Elmhurst feeling pretty good about themselves here, and a lot goes on this punt for the Titans. They've got to be able to swing the field here.
Baird will send this one away. Elmhurst almost getting to that one. A fairly short kick from Baird, but takes a Titan bounce. Will roll all the way down to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, that's Dominic Labalarte, and you saw the referee in the back signaled the tip. So that means that Labalarte got his hands on the ball. But then if you're Elmhurst, you've got to catch the punt. There's so much hidden yardage in rolls on punts. You've got to, if your gains, get to the ball. At that time, if you would have got to the reception point, they probably saved 10 yards of field position. But it's an excellent job by Noah Baird of swinging the field, exactly what we were talking about. You need a big punt. He steps up with a big punt and gives Elmhurst a strong field to go. And now Labalarte's into the game here.
And that punt, all the more impressive when you consider that it was tipped and still got that kind of distance on it to flip the
Yeah,
field
correction.
position.
That's the other 35. That's Jim Robley who actually got the hands on the punt. And he's the one who's in the backfield with Hernandez here on 1st down and gets the carry.
Hernandez gives Robley up the middle. He'll pick up about 3 yards. But on 1st down, you can't be upset about that.
Can't be upset about it. It's going to depend on forward progress. They'll give him the 30. So it looks like it'll maybe be 2. But again, if you're Elmhurst, you got to stay on schedule. Positive yards for Elmhurst at this point is staying on schedule. They've proven that they can handle the 3rd and medium with Elmhurst, or with this Wesleyan defense. But if you can keep the offense on schedule, keep the playbook open, not limit yourself to only a couple of pages of it, that's going to be your recipe for success.
Hernandez out of the gun, a player on either side of him. Now going in motion. Hernandez takes the snap, gives up the middle, but nowhere to go. Chance Hilliard in the backfield waiting for that one, and will push the Blue Jays back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a yard ahead of that, so it'll be a 3rd and 9.
Yeah, and if it wasn't Hilliard, I think it was Krezakowski who was going to have it there, as they just blew up the middle of the line. Both guys getting through the gap and blowing that play up, and that play never stood a chance. So now Elmhurst facing 3rd and 9. What they've shown in these situations is that they like the quarterback draw, and you're seeing Illinois Wesleyan counter the athleticism of Hernandez by going to a 3-4 front. As they'll take Hilliard off the formation, they'll go with DeBose, Krezakowski, and Nolan on the front 3. Get another linebacker onto the field. This time it's a corner, Kieran Swain, who's going to play more of a corner safety or a nickel safety.
And the flag comes out. Some movement on the line. And it's going to be against the Blue Jays. So what was the 3rd and 9 now gets them backed up even more to a 3rd and 14. We'll see how the Blue Jays can respond playing into the wind in this quarter.
Yeah, and that's a tough break because you're okay with 3rd and 9. 3rd and 14 gets a lot tougher. I would expect them at this point to probably look to run that quarterback draw, take your medicine, live to fight another series, and try to make sure that you're able to get rid of the ball the way you want to.
Single backfield set for Hernandez. 3 receivers out to the right, and it will be Hassan Austin, the lone receiver, spread out wide to the left. Hernandez takes the snap, looks right, Moves around to tackle, gets it to Austin. Austin with some space to work, breaks a tackle. He's got a first down and more. Across the 50, down to the 50, breaks another tackle. Hassan Austin, 30, 25, and nobody's going to catch Hassan Austin. Wow. Blue Jays, a 3rd and 14 that could have been absolutely devastating for Elmhurst, turns into a score and puts them on top.
Wow, what a play by Hassan Austin. Give credit to the Elmhurst offensive line, specifically the right tackle, Zach Dixon, because there was pressure on the backside of Hernandez. He had to climb up, and all they ran, they had trips to the right. They singled out Austin, who just runs a drag across the middle in man coverage, and at that point, you empty it out with the 3 guys. What you saw from the trip set was 3 vertical routes. They're just clearing out the right side to let Hassan Austin come in a one-on-one situation, and it was a great job once he got the first down. He was going to get it whether they made that initial tackle or not, but an excellent blocking by Mamiser to open that thing up, and then terrific job down the stretch to open that thing up. That was Brockman that came and sealed the backside, and just an excellent explosive play by Austin. And you're gonna have an offsides here on the Illinois Wesleyan defense trying to come off the edge here early.
Yeah, and that one saves Blake Bailey, who pulled that ball well left and missed the extra point.
Well, I think that's cause and effect. Bailey, that's the side he's seeing, so he rushed his operation, just trying to swing, and it was basically a swinging punch of a kick more than it was his normal kick, just trying to get that thing through before the guy could come off the edge. So
Bailey will get another shot at it, and they're going to bring Scales out on that right side as a little bit of an extra protector deep. And this time it's blocked again. The Titans pick it up. Looks like they're going to try to take this one back. He's got a caravan, and he gets up to about the 33.
Well, yeah, you tried to counter that, and you actually weakened the line by doing so. The only reason he was around the edge was because he jumped off sides. Trust the setup you have that you're able to get it done. And instead, big play from Illinois Wesleyan, because now a field goal can give you the lead again, despite the kicking issues that Illinois Wesleyan has had all year with both their kickers. But again, for Elmhurst, great job capitalizing there on 3rd and 14. Austin makes a heck of a play. And Elmhurst now with a 9-7 lead with 8:29 left here in the first half.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about was how this Illinois Wesleyan offense needs to do just enough to keep the defense in the game. They looked great on the first drive, haven't been able to get anything going, even relying on Morgan Alexander on 1st and 2nd down. They're still getting into trouble on 3rd and short.
Yeah, and now, I mean, we've talked a little bit about momentum swings in this game. Wesleyan takes the opening drive down and scores. Elmhurst then able to get a long drive before they're stalled. They kind of slowly wrestle it back. And finally, Elmhurst delivers a haymaker here, and they take a 2-point lead. We talked at the top of the broadcast, last year's game came down to a field goal with 11 seconds left. The game before that in this series was also a close game. Elmhurst does a nice job of matching up with Illinois Wesleyan, causing them some fits. And when you're sitting at 2-5, you can roll the dice a little bit, play loose, and take chances. Look out.
And Baird, another low kick that skips across the turf, finding a little bit of space.
Ball's out. Ball's out. That's Elmhurst football, I think.
Not a clear recovery. It looked like Elmhurst was going to have it.
Oh, we've got another flag coming in, too.
Yeah, that's going to be something jumping into the pile late. That first one, I have to imagine, is a block in the back.
It's
it
a block
like
in the back.
on the short side.
Yeah, it's a block in the back initially. That's the near side. Elmhurst has the football.
So Elmhurst, after a huge 3rd and 14 play, Hassan Austin breaks for a touchdown, a lull on the field goal issues, and now have a short field inside the Illinois Wesleyan 30 or on the Illinois Wesleyan 30.
Well, it's going to depend on the second penalty. The first one's blocked in the back. You obviously decline that. It's going to depend on what happens here with the second flag. It's very possible you have, and the other thing is, when does the second flag occur? Is it after the change of possession?
Well, it definitely happened in the scrum.
Receiving seat.
There's the block in the back. That penalty is declined. Holding Illinois Wesleyan, that penalty is declined. You decline that, so you take possession.
Yeah, both.
Boy, that's what a play for Illinois Wesleyan. And again, here's on the replay, the prop, he's got the ball on the inside. He goes to change it to the outside. He dropped the football. That's not a forced fumble. He just dropped the football trying to get the ball away from the tackler. And here's Elmhurst, with a 29-yard field coming off a score.
Yeah, that was 16, Mitch Pfeiffer, a junior wide receiver. And he's been the second man pairing up with Zieglich on those returns. And now on first down, the give to Holloway. He breaks that one out to the left and will pick up 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah, that's just the right. Elmhurst has the right play call against the right defense there. Wesleyan gambles. They bring Wilkie down right on the near side, and they just run it right off into the gap that he really sets up with that blitz. And Holloway does a nice job weaving his way down there. Here for Elmhurst, second and short, change of possession, a lot of momentum. Watch something a little tricky here.
2 receivers to the right, Gaines spread out wide to the left. The burner for the Blue Jays.
And you don't have safety help over the top with Austin here or with Gaines on the near side.
Hernandez immediately looking out left to Gaines, but the pressure gets to him before he can do anything, and he will be dropped for a loss of 3. So 3rd and 6 coming up for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and Hernandez felt it. He did the right thing. He just tucks the ball under, tries to get as close to the line of scrimmage as he can. Wesleyan bringing pressure off the edge and blowing that play up. Illinois Wesleyan's playing with fire a little bit, not putting somebody over the top of Jawan Gaines, who's in single coverage down at the bottom, or was in single coverage, is again here with Trevor Kepke, and they walk the safety down. So look for Elmhurst to maybe take a shot down the sideline here with Gaines.
Brockman motions left, then back to the right. Hernandez throwing over the middle, has Brockman first down inside the 10. He's still rumbling. He will get down to the 7-yard line.
Brockman's just such a good possession receiver. He's got a big frame at 6'2", 233, and all you really have to do is put it in the numbers. That's the exact same play they ran to him last time, and it's there. There's a quick window. You deliver the ball. He's got sure hands. He's 350 yards receiving now for the year on 31 catches. I mean, he's so sure-handed, and he is a horse to bring down in the open field. You saw him there. I mean, the CCIW's got some pretty good tight ends this year, and Brockman might be the best of them.
Yeah, Brockman leading this Blue Jays team in touchdowns receiving and trailing only Hernandez overall.
And again, why not look for the same play for Elmhurst?
Hernandez going to Gaines, lobs it up, Gaines pulls it down, and he's got a touchdown.
Yeah, that's, again, you've got single coverage on Jawan Gaines. Elmhurst or Illinois Wesleyan is going to play man cut press man when you get down in short distances. So that time you just run an in cut from Gaines, get him underneath the corner. Hernandez probably needs to deliver that ball a little bit stronger than he did. But that's an excellent job. And now that you're up 8, you're playing with it's a little bit tricky here. Elmhurst is going to try to get this thing back to 10 points, leading by 8 here. But the extra point alone just gives you a 2-score game. So it's kind of a catch-22 Elmhurst is in. It looks like they're going to go for 2 here.
But the Blue Jays really playing with house money. Regardless of whether they get this or not, Illinois Wesleyan needs to drive down the field, score, and convert on a 2-point conversion.
Exactly. Again, watch Brockman out of this set here. They're going to match him with Wilkie.
Brockman motions right, going to go out into the flat. Hernandez looking, feels the pressure, and gets taken down. He fumbles. That's 25. Trevor Staley coming down from the free safety on the sack, the CCIW Defensive Player of the Week, stopping that 2-point conversion.
Yeah, Illinois Wesleyan decides to roll the dice a little bit. They bring pressure from they end up bringing it from the short side of the field, thinking that he might roll there. And again, that's why I'm not so sure you go for 2. You force it, because like you said, you force him to make a 2-point conversion, but you force them to score twice. That's the thing with the extra points. Force them to score twice. But like you said, they're playing with house money. We just talked about you're a 2-5 team playing the number 11 ranked team in the country. You go for it. You just you gamble sometimes, and that's what Elmhurst does. So it stays a 1-score game. Illinois Wesleyan can hang their hat on that at this point. But right now, it's all Blue Jays.
And you have to imagine there's a little bit of fear that plays into that call, in the fact that you had Bailey miss the extra point. Frankly, it was affected by the offsides penalty, but then the next one they move somebody outside. Illinois Wesleyan comes up the gut and blocks it. So you have to imagine that Bailey's confidence has to come into play there a little bit when thinking about going for 2 versus just the extra.
Again, this feels a little bit like Elmhurst is overthinking things with the PAT unit. On the year, Bailey's 7 for 11 before today, so there are some issues there, but trust the unit to get the job done the way they normally would.
Kickoff deep. Coming up the middle is Zieglich. He breaks a tackle. He's going to get across the 40 up to the 44-yard line. So a big return for Zieglich.
Yeah, and again, Zieglich isn't necessarily a burner, but he's the confident guy you want on kick return. And that he gets the ball and he goes straight upfield and he gets you the yardage he needs. and sets them up this time with a 40 at the 40, looks like about the 43, give them the 44-yard line. Illinois Wesleyan has to be able to keep their offense on the field here. This you don't want to say it's a must-score drive, but they at least need to pick up a first down because their defense has been on the field for the last 10 minutes.
Bauer out of the gun. Ryan is the motion man.
This is Bauer on the keeper.
Bauer going to keep it, stretches it out left, picks up 1 or 2 before being forced out of bounds.
Boy, and that's an excellent play by the safety Jamari Wise, who's the lone guy there. That's his job. Is if the quarterback pulls, he's got to be the one to slow him down. And he takes on the block. He bounces him to the sideline. He lets the defense rally. Wise is a sophomore who's only started for a couple of games now, a freshman out of Riverside, Illinois, and he does a nice job there. Takes on the one block. He does his job. That's assignment football. It's textbook assignment football, and it forces 2nd and 8.
Bauer with Alexander on his left hip. Once again, Ryan, the motion man. Looking left. He'll send that one outside to Healy. Healy has a catch for the first down. A few more. Gets down to the Blue Jay 41-yard line before being pulled down.
And that's Healy's strength. 6'5", he's a matchup nightmare. You just let the big fellow make plays there. So if you're not going to go to Alexander, the next logical choice is Healy. Let Healy go to work. If you're only going to man him, if you're not going to provide a safety over the top, then if I'm Illinois Wesleyan, I'm going to try to hit that all day.
Yeah, and Healy at 6'5" with a 7-inch advantage over Victor Ogbabor.
Yeah, and they're trying to match up their best corner with him, but you've got to have help. And they're going to continue to play the safeties in the middle of the field.
Bauer fakes the give to Alexander. Now looking downfield, has a man wide open. That's Zach Walsh. He's inside the 25 down to the 23-yard line. And Rusty, like you said, maybe not a must score, but you definitely need a few first downs if you're the Titans.
Definitely need a few first downs. This is exactly what the doctor ordered here for the Titans. Again, you're using Alexander to open up that passing game. Bauer's well protected that time. He keeps his feet under him. We didn't see that the last time he rolled out. Keeps his feet under him, delivers a strong ball to Walsh.
And Walsh has nobody within 5 yards of him on that catch. A great route. And keep an eye on Healy. He's on the short side.
Yeah, they got to bring the safety over the top here. Now they do.
Yeah, they will. Bauer gives it to Alexander up the middle, bounces off a few tacklers, and he is finally taken down at the 22 or at the 17-yard line for a gain of about 5.
But again, this is where Illinois Wesleyan's been. They've been successful on first down. This is the down they've struggled with, is getting themselves into 2nd and short. And now that you're down inside the 20, the defense condenses. I think you continue to give the ball to Morgan Alexander and let your best offensive player do what he does best.
15-7 Blue Jays, 4.5 to play in the first half. Bauer takes the snap, drops back, looking right, over the middle, has a man. That's Walsh for a touchdown.
I guess if you're not going to go to Alexander, that works too. That's wide open. Cover 2 look, you just get the guy splitting the safeties. Easy pitch and catch from Bauer. It's pretty similar to the play they ran for the touchdown in the first quarter, and now quickly Illinois Wesleyan can tie this game up with a 2-point conversion. But and again, this is the exact scenario that you kick the extra point if you're Elmhurst, because you forced them to score twice. Like it or not, the way Illinois Wesleyan's offense is constructed, they're fine with 2-point conversions because they run the ball so well. You don't have to come up with something creative to convert. Also keep an eye out for Jack Healy, 6'5", and they're going to have help even though the safety's walking away. He split to the right side here.
Yeah, Healy the lone man on the right side. Jet motion, Bauer going back. He's wrapped up, gets away, throws this one, but nobody home.
Boy, that's just excellent penetration game there. Coming right up the middle, Mike Dickin doesn't quite bring him down but blows it up, and I guess you keep it a 2-score game. So you credit to the Elmhurst defense there. They did what they needed to do to keep the lead, and Dickin really just exploding through the middle there. Never really gave Bauer a chance off the play fake.
And the Titans scoring obviously huge for them, but I think the bigger impact has to be finally getting those guys on defense a little bit of a breather, string together a few plays, don't have to come back out onto the field after a 3rd and out. So the Titans will set up. So the Titans will show onside right away, as they usually do. Tata stepping back, and now they'll go into their normal kick formation.
Yeah, they do that because if the return team's not paying attention and they just spread the field, then you've got a numbers game in the middle that you can open that up for that little rolling squib. And Elmhurst, true to their integrity there, has the return team where they need to.
Tata sends this one deep. Gaines back, will handle it at the 7-yard line. Steps forward, cuts right, has a lane, and he is stood up at the 32-yard line.
Yeah, he ran into a brick wall at the 32-yard line. And good to see that he gets up and seems to be no harm there against Gaines, because you're going to see it right as soon as he gets to 32 right here. He just runs into a wall, gets pushed back and then tackled. But again, nice return for Elmhurst. Anytime you get the ball across the 30-yard line as a return team and you keep possession, you're happy with that. 4:09 now left in the first half. If you're Elmhurst, you'd like to pick up a first down or two, and if you can't score, at least maybe take this thing to halftime or not give Illinois Wesleyan enough time to have a drive. This is an opportunity here to continue the momentum into the halftime break.
4 receivers spread out wide. Bethke, the lone back for Hernandez.
And Bethke's been the preferred runner for Elmhurst, a little bit bigger back.
Hernandez fakes the give to Bethke, now sends it outside for Brockman, and he will go down inbounds. So run the clock down inside 4 minutes.
And again, anytime you can design a play to get the ball to Matt Brockman, it's a successful offensive play because he's so big. The thing you have to watch with a big athletic guy like him is you have to tackle him low. You've got to come at him essentially from the thighs and down, and that opens you up to maybe for the hurdle. Brockman's a big body, but he's athletic. You saw him turn his shoulders upfield after the play as he's going to check off on this play. Keep in mind, though, Jimmy Scales is the same build as their backup, 6'2", 233. They're exactly the same size.
Ivers goes in motion, fakes the give to Holloway, now sending it out wide for Bethke, and Bethke will have a catch for the first down, and he steps out of bounds at the 45.
I love what Elmhurst is doing offensively here. They're using just a little bit of run fake to slow down the linebackers. You're not necessarily throwing them off, but you're slowing them down so they can't pursue at full speed and just getting the ball into the flats. Like we talked about earlier, Elmhurst will give you the flats and just take it. Take what the defense gives you. They're giving you those 4 or 5 yard completions, and Elmhurst is doing a nice job just taking them.
And a heads-up play from Bethke getting out of bounds after picking up the first. Remember, the Blue Jays down to just 1 timeout.
Clock running inside of 3 minutes now.
Hernandez looking to the far side, and he overthrows Austin.
It's going to sound like it's a broken record from us, but until you actually throw the ball with a high release point, you're going to have that problem. That's, once again, a 5-yard give me. It's an extended handoff play for Orlando Hernandez, and it's not working because its mechanics are off throwing the football. Stand tall, deliver the football with confidence that you've had. He's throwing the ball well today. Stand tall and deliver a ball instead of just flinging it like that.
Moser spread out wide to the left. Bethke in the backfield, now on the right hip of Hernandez. Hernandez fakes the give, will keep it himself, tries to go up the middle, but nowhere to go. He is wrapped up. Looks like Hilliard will be the one to take him down.
It's a nice job by the front 4 of really throwing that play off, because I think Elmhurst had what they wanted as far as the opening, and then all of a sudden the defensive line was into the backfield. It's a designed read option. It's really more of a veer than it is the read option, in that you're really reading what the defensive tackle does more than what the defensive end does. If the tackle steps out, then you're going to keep up the middle, which he did. That time the backside defensive end, DuBose, though, collapsed, and that cut down the running lane for Hernandez. Big 3rd and 10 here for both teams. Clock running at 2:15.
Yeah, clock will get down towards 2 minutes before the Blue Jays are forced to snap this one. Hernandez takes it out of the gun, drops back. He's looking right, going to take a shot downfield. And that is incomplete.
That's very well protected by Elmhurst, intended for Austin McKellar. I just think the force of his body hitting the ground. He caught it at first, and when his body hit the ground, it knocks the ball out, and he can't quite complete the catch. It's a nice throw from Hernandez because that's a tricky ball. When you're throwing deep into the sideline, you've got to be able to really sling it and throw it with confidence, especially going into the wind. That's a ball that the defense can break on and have help on, and he put it where only his guy can get it, and McKellar just couldn't quite complete it.
So Casanova back on to punt. This will be the first time we see him kicking into the wind.
And maybe most importantly, Illinois Wesleyan saves a timeout there because the pass is incomplete.
And a short kick from Casanova will roll out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, I don't know what you can do going into the win. That's much better than that. I mean, Casanova gets the yardage he can. The ball is angled, so there's not going to be a return.
So the Titans will have a chance running the 2-minute drill to at least try to get into field goal position. They have the wind at their back, so a pretty good spot to be in for the Titans offense.
Yeah, the biggest thing with the two-minute drill offensively, when you go into a huddle, you're sticking the defense with the same personnel package. You don't give them time to get off the field. So if they can get a mismatch somewhere, expect them to stay into the no huddle and not give Elmhurst time.
Bauer takes the snap, rolling left, throws to the far sideline, caught by Zieglich, and he will be kept inbounds, so the clock will roll.
And here we go, just like you would expect, Illinois Wesleyan going no huddle. They've got all 3 timeouts left.
Minute 30 with the clock rolling. Bauer gets the play call in.
Yeah, they're going to have to be faster than this if they want, unless they need a big play.
Give to Alexander. He'll run up the gut, has the first down, a few more up to the 49-yard line.
And that's going to be where Illinois Wesleyan can have a surprising amount of success in the no huddle, is because you're spreading the defense out expecting the pass, and then you can just gash them up the middle. Remember, clock's going to start once the ball is set. It's set, and here we go.
Minute 20 to play. Bauer does a better job getting the play call in that time, takes the snap out of the gun, looking to his right, had Ziegler, but that one's picked off.
Tristan Bolus sits on the stop route, and now Elmhurst, if you want to, can maybe get aggressive here. You're only looking at a 65-yard field or so. You've got 1 timeout, a minute 12. That's an excellent play by Bolus. The safety's over the top where he needs to be there. He just sits on the stop route, and Bauer can't drill it into that small a window.
And the Blue Jays pick up their second takeaway of the game, picking off Bauer, and just the 6th interception of the season for Bauer compared to 16 touchdowns now.
And keep in mind, you're minute 12 left, but Illinois Wesleyan has 3 timeouts, so you can't just kneel this thing into the halftime break. Elmhurst is going to have to try to pick up a first down, because if I'm Illinois Wesleyan, the wind has picked up here in the last couple of minutes. I'm expecting to use all 3 timeouts. The punting game hasn't been real successful for Elmhurst. Use all 3 timeouts and try to get your offense the ball back.
Hernandez drops back, going deep over the middle, looking for Brockman, and that one should have been picked off.
Incomplete. They're saying it hit the ground. Illinois Wesleyan trying to say it was picked off.
Yeah, that's Gitteroff who ends up with it, trying to sell it a little bit.
And the thing for Elmhurst is you also have to be smart with the football. That ball's never going to get there. There's 4 white jerseys around Brockman to the point where 2 of them are in the exact same spot at the mesh point of the ball. It's a catch-22, because like we said, you've got to pick up a first down. You can't just run the ball into the line, or Elmhurst or Illinois Wesleyan's going to be forced to use their timeouts. But you also have to be smart with the football. If it's not there, take your medicine, force Illinois Wesleyan to call that timeout, and just keep the clock moving. Take your sack there if you're Orlando Hernandez.
Hernandez takes the 2nd and 10 snap out of the gun. Going to look deep once again, looking for Hassan Austin. But Austin was forced out of bounds and is overthrown.
Boy, you question this from Elmhurst at this point. Because I think you probably had it there. You had the route, but if it's not there like this, Illinois Wesleyan's the timeouts are there. Your punting game hasn't been swinging the field that much. It's like it is a catch-22, but force Illinois Wesleyan to use those timeouts. Don't give it to them with the offensive possession. But right now, Illinois Wesleyan hasn't had to use the timeouts. You've only used 13 seconds of clock.
And the Blue Jays will still be punting into the wind, which could get an even shorter field. We saw the effect it had on Baird for the Titans in his first punt. Hernandez will drop back, now take this one himself.
And that's a first down.
Yeah, he's going to just barely pick it up, but he does get the first down, and that completely remedies each of the mistakes.
Clock is stopped for a first down, and now Elmhurst kicks it into gear. This is what you want to see if you're Elmhurst. So as much as you critique the first 2 plays, this is what you want for the Blue Jays.
So the clock now running inside 50 seconds. Hernandez drops back, feels some pressure, avoids 1 tackler, but he cannot avoid the rest.
And now you take it to half.
Yeah, you saw DeBose in there.
Even though Wesleyan's calling a timeout.
And the Titans, like you said, the Titans calling timeout. 38 and a half seconds left on the clock, as that is a loss of 9 on the sack.
And you know what? You might as well at that point. I think if that's maybe a sack for a loss of a yard or 2, perhaps you don't, because the ball's still sitting around midfield. But at that point, when you're back to 2nd and 20, if you're Elmhurst, you probably look to run the ball the next 2 plays, get to a chance where you can punt the ball, And if you run it the next two, you figure combine another 10 seconds off the clock, you're looking at forcing a punt with 30 seconds left in the half. You've got the wind. You've got a strong-arm quarterback, a big receiver. I think you continue to use these timeouts if you're Illinois Wesleyan. Just give yourself a chance to maybe steal some points.
Yeah, and at the very least, use them because you have them. There's no point in not at least going for it, like you said, when you have the big-bodied quarterback.
Looking around the conference, Milliken has stormed back to take a 2-point lead over Carthage up in Kenosha. North Central, as expectedly, throttling Carroll 34-7.
So it'll be 2nd and 19 for the Blue Jays. Hernandez has Bethke behind him. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Brockman in the slot. It'll be a give to Bethke. Up the middle, he bounces to the left. Will pick up 5 or 6 yards. Give him the 41-yard line. And now a late flag comes in. That's going to be unnecessary roughness on the Titans.
And not only that, you're not getting the ball back at this point, but you're also giving Illinois, that's going to be from the spot. So from the 45, that's going to get the ball to the Illinois Wesleyan 40, and now Elmhurst can look to take a shot.
Yeah, and that one easy for the rest to call. You could hear the whistles as Bethke's forward progress stopped on the 41, and then he gets slung forward to about the 47, 48-yard line.
So it moves the ball to the Illinois Wesleyan 44.
And with 29.7 seconds to play, the Blue Jays have a pretty good opportunity to take a couple shots here.
Keep in mind the clock's going to run, so that's why Elmhurst is on the ball right now, clock running. Hernandez taking a lot of time here. That's 4 or 5 seconds with the snap.
Give to Bethke up the middle, picks up maybe 3 yards. And it looks like the Blue Jays, now they take their final timeout of the first half with 17.8 to play.
Elmhurst looks like they got caught off guard there, which is you shouldn't see in that situation. You end up losing 4 or 5 seconds before the snap. You're handing the ball off up the middle to only get 2 yards, and then you use a timeout. So now you're out of timeouts. If you're Elmhurst, I'm not sure you don't just try to spike that ball and set something up. So it's a little, I don't know that Illinois Wesleyan would use their timeouts at this point, given that you've got the ball on their side of the field. It actually benefits your offense for them to use them.
Yeah, and there's almost no shot that they get the ball back with so little time on the clock.
Correct. So it's a little surprising to me that Elmhurst looks like they got caught napping there with the play call and the situation. But 17.8 seconds left, ball's on the 42. The thing is, going into the wind, you've got to get the ball down to almost the 15-yard line. If you're Elmhurst, I'd probably look to get the ball to Matt Brockman here, get the first down, stop the clock, spike the ball, and continue to just kind of chunk them. I mean, it was 17.8. If they're quick hitters, you might be able to get 3 or 4 plays that you can actually chuck this thing into the end zone.
Yeah, Brockman will set up in the slot on the left side. Gaines spread out to the left of him. Hernandez drops back and will go to Gaines on the sideline. That one picked off.
Trouble.
This is Jordan Hassan. He's got some space, gets across midfield, and then will be taken down at the 47-yard line. 8.2 on the clock.
Yeah, Hernandez was going that way the whole time. His eyes pre-snap were there, and as soon as he got to his second step, he moved his eyes to the left side. Hassan's too good of a linebacker. You've got to be able to stare him down to keep him in his spot. That's the second interception of the year. And now with 8 seconds left, you've got a 6'5" receiver and the wind at your back. If I'm Illinois Wesleyan, I'm trying to get a quick hitter to maybe get 5 or 6 yards. You've got 2 timeouts. You can get out of bounds. So you've got 2 timeouts. So the field is open. Maybe get 10 yards, get down, use your timeout, and then set yourself up for a shot at the end zone.
Yeah, and Brandon Bauer under center, no slouch, has a pretty big arm. You pick up 10 yards, he can easily get that ball into the end zone.
Illinois Wesleyan has had problems with the kicking unit, so that I don't know that you really consider a field goal unless you get it down inside the 20.
Bauer drops back, feels the pressure, rolls out to his left, looking downfield will just send this one away, and that ball will go out of bounds. 1.3 seconds on the clock, so the Titans will be able to run another play if they choose to, but I feel like they're just as likely to just take a knee here and send this one to half.
No, there's no reason to take the knee. You heave it up and hope your 6'5" receiver makes a play. If you're Elmhurst, you get your tallest guys in as the back guys, and you put them at the 10-yard line. You drop everybody back except for maybe your front 3. Rush with 3, and again, I think if you're Elmhurst, drop the safeties farther. They're only at the 20. Put them all the way at the 10. Put them on the goal line. Who cares? Just get them behind the ball.
3-man front for the Blue Jays. Bauer should have plenty of space. steps up, sends this one downfield, looking end zone.
Healy's got a box out there, and wow, that's a pretty good throw. He throws it out of the back of the end zone. If you're Illinois Wesleyan, you got what you wanted in that you got Healy into the end zone, and he turned his back on the safety, almost like a basketball box out there. The wind just carried that ball out of the end zone. So give Elmhurst credit. Their defense bowed up and made plays when they had to. Give Illinois Wesleyan credit. When the game was running away from them a little bit, they stepped up, made a play, made a big score, forced turnovers here that they're able to keep the game at 15-13 here at the halftime break. And if you're Elmhurst, you obviously love where you're at because you're getting the ball first here to start the second half.
And the Blue Jays offense will be back out onto the field when we come back from the halftime break. I'm Nate Stein for Rusty Lindsay. You're watching Blue Jay TV.
Why do I go to Elmhurst College?
I'm close to everything.
I need a great school at a great price.
I'm learning about myself and my role in the world.
I love a challenge.
I'm dreaming big.
but feel totally at home. I want an education with meaning.
I want to be a champion for others. I made connections for life.
I'm ready for the real world. Why do I go to Elmhurst College?
To reach my full potential.
Coming here as a Division III player, you're coming here to get your degree. We have some players that go on to be professional athletes. They've gone overseas, but that's not the norm. Our players are coming. They're finishing their playing careers here, and so whenever they're done, they're being prepared in something else other than just basketball. So for us, that's the student-athlete model. You come in, you're working hard. Our players put in as much time as a Division I player does, but it's because they want to be there. I know that from motivating our players, if they're coming to practice, I know that they're working hard because it's out of them, not just because we've got a dollar sign, they have to do it, this is how they have to stay in school. They don't have to be there. They're there because they're motivated to, they want to be a good team, they want to be a good player, and there's something that's special about that experience to me, coaching that player.
Elmhurst College is much more than buildings, courses, and credits. It's a supportive community of individuals who are committed to helping you reach your full potential. But don't take my word for it.
I visited a lot of schools, but when I came here, it was just like, I'm home.
As soon as I walked on campus, I felt like I could dive right in and get involved.
Getting involved is easy, especially in class. The average class here has just 17 students.
Every faculty and staff here just wants me to succeed.
I can go up to them, and it's not just office hours. Like, I'm here from 10:30 to 11:30. It's actually like, whenever you need help, my door's open.
There's a real connection that takes place. I'm frequently asked, what do I teach? I never say music. I teach people. Music's the vehicle.
It was great to see that rather than just teaching textbook material, they're actually giving you some industry insight.
I'm a vocalist. I'm out in the clubs performing. I'm touring in Europe and performing. So they see how their life can transition into that.
A lot of my friends from other universities, they don't get to be a part of undergraduate research, professional development at such an early stage.
They're truly there to help you and to build you and to make sure that you are amazing.
And at Elmhurst, you can be amazing all around, including on the field. Football is just one of 20 Division III sports.
We went straight to the Final Four of the nation, and that was a great way to come in and start off the season.
They're there because they're motivated to, they want to be a good team, they want to be a good player.
Wrestling wasn't my life. I was able to go out and do a lot of different activities and get involved on campus.
We are allowed to be students, and we can be involved in a lot of other things.
How do you want to get involved? You'll have your choice at Elmhurst.
Our campus has over 100 clubs and organizations.
Whatever you want to do, there's something here for you to do. Concert choir, the wind ensemble, gospel choir,
Habitat for Humanity, Global Poverty Club.
I'm an orientation student leader, SGA, Best Buddies.
Greek life at Elmhurst College is really focused on leadership and discovering who you really are.
To be part of all these different organizations and get to know all these amazing people is why I love Elmhurst.
You can also get to know the world beyond the campus. Elmhurst offers study abroad opportunities in 44 countries.
I studied abroad in Granada,
Holland, Germany,
El Salvador, Israel and Palestine, Costa Rica,
Czech Republic.
Back at home, you'll enjoy all the advantages of our great location. Downtown Elmhurst is just a short walk from campus, and the Metro train will take you to the world-class city of Chicago in just 30 minutes. When it comes to career preparation, we've got you covered. Elmhurst will connect you with the people and the experiences you need to reach your full potential.
Elmhurst allows you to grow into the knowing, and I appreciate that there's a journey that we encourage. It's not just in one program or one department, it's threaded throughout everything that we do.
Elmhurst College pushes you to truly find who you are as a person and as a professional.
They will make sure, no matter what your interests are, what your career path is, that there's going to be a resource on campus that is going to help you find that potential and then reach it.
If I had to say why Elmhurst would be the best option for nursing education, I would say because you don't have to be big to be the best. We have all of the student services, we have all the educational services, the excellent curriculum and faculty, so we're not big, but we are the best. We have a state-of-the-art simulation center, and I have seen many sim centers across the nation, and this one is truly, truly remarkable.
The professors there encourage us to make mistakes because it is simulation, and they want us to learn from our mistakes.
Going to the sim lab that's actually in Elmhurst Memorial Hospital, it's really, really cool. The facility is amazing, it's brand new.
What the simulation center consists of are mannequins, but these aren't just mannequins like you've seen before where you do CPR. Our mannequins talk to you. Our mannequins birth babies. Our mannequins cry. If you don't do what you need to do as a nurse to our mannequins, they will die. So what we do is actually simulate experiences in real life that you will see as a nurse, and you get to make mistakes without hurting people.
At any school you can learn the skills, but I feel like at Elmhurst, the faculty and staff are encouraging us to do more.
They're always passionate about what they do, and I think that's very important. One of my professors said, you don't just want to be a good nurse, you want to be the best nurse.
We do have many partners in the community at Elmhurst College, and basically we have to. We rely on our community partners to provide that clinical education piece. So while we are there with our students, side by side, teaching them, we couldn't do it if we didn't have the clinical partners. I think our faculty are our gems here. When you come to Elmhurst for nursing education, you will receive your education from clinical specialists. You can be good as a clinician, but that doesn't make you a good educator. We need excellent educators to be able to translate that theory into practice for our nursing students.
I got on the floor, and after a few weeks working with my clinical instructor and working with my classmates and collaborating, it really has provided me with a safe space to, talk to my instructor, talk to my other peers, and really work together to build my confidence and competency as a future nurse.
I feel like they are preparing me well, and I have no doubt that in a short year and a half that I'll be ready to go out into the world and be a nurse helping patients.
Our students are working everywhere. We have students working in schools, hospitals, and in community health settings. So our students are really everywhere. We don't just teach, we change lives.
I love when people ask me, okay, what can I do now that I'm here? I'm in the honors program, being a part of Union Board,
Best Buddies, Student Government, Debate Club,
Relay for Life, the Research Keystone program,
Greek Life,
Tri Beta,
Juggling Club,
Student Ambassadors.
Once you get here, there are plenty of things going on. Serving the community is such a huge part of being an Elmhurst College student.
Center for Professional Excellence has a whole department and team ready to help you get involved with community service.
I think one of my favorite ones would have to be when I joined Golden Crew. The organization itself focuses on pediatric cancer. We had like a whole scavenger hunt for them, and I dressed up as Batman and kind of helped lead them through the entire experience. And it was kind of really like a humbling thing.
Being able to plan homecoming the last 4 years, it was really honestly one of the best experiences that I've had here.
I don't think I would have been this social or this confident if I wasn't part of the 10,000 things that I get the opportunity to be a part of every day.
The connections that you make on this campus, both in your academic classes as well as the different service organizations or just activities you get involved in, give you the opportunity to really get out there. Making those connections isn't something that's superficial. It's something that you get here as an experience. It's something that is going to carry on for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you're coming here to get a degree, but your 4 years in college aren't just defined by that. It's by all the things that you're involved in and the people that you meet, and the way that you meet those people is by getting involved.
Definitely being on the cross country and track team, that has been really great. The athletic community as a whole is really inclusive and inviting, and then having that team, it's really family oriented. We usually have 20 girls on the team, and we're all brought together by our love for running, and our coach is really instrumental in that. But you get to know each other so well through practices, and you're going through all these really hard workouts together. So you're putting everything you've got out there, and you're all supporting each other. You get to know each other on a really personal level that you might not otherwise just by meeting these girls in class. So you get to know about their families and their classes and their goals for the season, and you really support each other. The Division III athlete is kind of the perfect balance of student athlete too. You still get your sport, and it's highly competitive, and we compete just as much as the D1 athletes do, but then we are allowed to be students, and we can be involved in a lot of other things. I know a lot of the girls on my team and myself are involved in a lot of other clubs and organizations, and I feel like at a D1 school you kind of are limited. You can only be on your sports team and then study too for your classes. So we kind of get the best of both worlds with that.
Originally, it was a breath of fresh air. I'm alone. What am I gonna do? What could I possibly do? What's ahead for me? And once I got on campus, I just excelled. I utilized all my resources coming here. It was a program called Direct Connect, which was a minority program to get students situated with the campus 2 weeks before school started. So I actually lived on campus 2 weeks before. I went to seminars, which actually helped us get acquainted to the long campus hours. The teachers that were in the seminars were actually going to be our teachers that were on campus. So we have something here called the first year seminar, which not only is supposed to promote growth within the freshmen, but also serve as a guidance or a type of direction for their first time here. And they were ecstatic. They helped me, they gravitated towards me, and I actually use them as a stepping stone even now in senior year. Growing up, I did not have that type of support. In high school, you think you can stay after class, but what will other students think? I think once I got here, it was more so what do I want? Just having a drive, a motivation to go forth and actually reach out for help or ask for help.
There's always a new experience right around the corner. I didn't plan on running here, and then right before school started, I emailed Coach Eric Guda. I sort of have been running this summer, and I've always been a runner. What if I joined the team? And he was so excited about it, and he was just very welcoming about it. So the fact that I came into the school with 17 other people that were runners, and I had something to relate with, that was awesome. Since we're all D3 athletes, school comes first, athletes come second, but at the same time, we're playing that role 24/7, and it's really helpful that I don't just have this cross-country family, I have all the athletes here on campus that I know I can relate to in some way. There's so many opportunities here that help you push you in the right direction, and there's always someone to help you along the way and support you and be your friend and also be your professor and also be your coach and be your mentor, and there's just so many different roles that you can connect one-on-one with everyone.
Welcome to the cultural season at Elmhurst College. Elmhurst is a place of values and conviction. We were founded by 19th century reformers who believed in human potential, loved learning, and had standards. More than 140 years later, we still do. We still attract students and teachers who want to think for themselves and act on principles, who challenge and respect one another, who engage, serve, and celebrate our diverse, dynamic, interdependent world. A few years ago, to be clear about things, we wrote down our core values. This year, we asked some of our students what those values mean to them.
Elmhurst College is unique in so many ways.
Here we really do have values, and my professors know the values, and they push me to be those values.
Stewardship and faith in community and service, and it really does bring in kind of a level of just interaction with values that you never got before.
As you kind of develop yourself over the years, you start to realize these values mean so much more, and you start to uncover the true meaning behind them.
You begin to see equivalencies between your life and the school, and then you discover that you're not just in a place of learning, you're also in a place of growing, you're in a place of maturity and value, exactly that, core values.
Intellectual excellence means allowing our minds to grow in ways that we've never thought they could before.
It means exploring those new pathways, seeing how we could do things different. It means stepping outside of our box of what we know and what we're comfortable with and taking those risks to really grow and make things better. I think that's really the core of what intellectual excellence is.
The professors set the standard of intellectual excellence, and that rubs off on the students, and I feel like that's rubbed off on me.
You really have to push yourself. So to know that's actually a value here is pretty important, because that's something I value on my own. So if my college values it as well, that means I really belong here.
To say that Elmhurst College values community, I think, is an understatement. I think Elmhurst College is community in so many ways.
Coming to Elmhurst College, a small college, it has to be about community.
It doesn't really matter who you are or where you've come from. Everyone here will just love you for who you are.
The fact that every individual and every unique person is allowed to be in an environment together and learn from each other and grow with each other.
Just the fact that it's smaller and that you form those one-on-one relationships, it encourages like creativity and questioning and all the things I wanted out of my college experience.
Social responsibility means caring for each individual as a person.
There are all these people and they're all more important than my general happiness as a single person.
You're not only trying to better yourself, but I feel like it also means it's your job that you better your community too.
Knowing that there's something larger than yourself and that you can play a part in making someone else's life better.
Taking what I learned from my family, that others come before me, and translating that into the entire world.
It's really awesome to be in a place where not only are you worrying about academics, but it's also teaching me how to be a better person.
To me, stewardship is just being responsible, really thinking about your actions.
If I'm going to say that, I believe in this philanthropy, I think we should do this, I need to follow through with my actions.
What I found coming to Elmhurst is that there are lots of people that feel the same way. So it was easy to find a group of people who were so engaged in service and so willing to help.
Kind of made me reflect on, what do I value in life? Why am I here? They really did kind of push me to the next level and make me think about that, and I think that I'm a better person for it.
Values really help shape identity. If you really don't understand your values, you're not really understanding a part of who you are.
I was more sheltered until I came here, and Elmhurst has really kind of made me step out of my comfort zone and learn more about what I want to do and what I believe in.
Places like the chaplain's office and the Niebuhr Center for Faith and Action give me safe places where I can go to discuss my faith and to discuss my values with people that I know I trust and people that I know I can count on to influence me and to lead me in the right direction.
You can never be forced out of your faith or forced into a different kind of faith as long as you're at Elmhurst, that you really are given the ability to take your pick and always have encouragement from your peers, never shunned or excluded or pressured into something else. There's always a place for you.
If you believe you're here on this earth for a reason, that's going to affect the way you live your life. That's going to affect the way you treat your academics, the way you treat your social life, the way you look at your future and the goals that you have. Those things seem like really big things, but all of that boils down to the way you live your everyday life.
We value
intellectual excellence,
community,
social responsibility,
stewardship,
faith, meaning, and values.
Education is kind of in my family. My dad's a principal, and so I've seen that lifestyle, and I wanted to further education of students, and I really enjoy kids. And so that being said, I wanted to be a teacher and then coach as well. The elementary education program is very rigorous. You get out in the field, you have field experience starting your sophomore year. So your sophomore through senior year, you're always in the field learning. I think that's just a huge advantage here at Elmhurst College to have you out in the field early, just because you have such almost like a leg up on everyone else that is going into that major as well, just because you're out there and it takes 3 or 4 years to realize what the system of a school is. We're in schools all the time as students, but not necessarily as teachers, so it's a different point of view to see the whole school atmosphere. The professors, they're really great. They always email you right back, even in the evenings if you have questions on assignments and papers. The ratio in the class is there's 12 or 13 students per professor in a class period in the elementary education program. And so with that being said, you're not a number, you're a name. And that's something that I really, really like, and it definitely prepares you. They always push you in the classroom. They always push you on the court, off the court. Our coaches push us to do other things besides sports and our major, to get out in the community. And with all that being said, it's kind of a resume builder, and so that's how it pushes us to become more prepared for the real world. Our basketball team actually has weekly meetings in the fall with the Center for Professional Excellence, so they help us build resumes and help us, get our name out to people and businesses for internships and jobs and all that. But I know that when the time comes, I feel like I'm going to be prepared just through the education that Elmhurst has provided and the skills that I've learned as well through sports and our studies.
Welcome back to Langhorse Field here on campus at Elmhurst College. I'm Nate Stein alongside Rusty Lindsay. You're watching Blue Jay TV. Second half kickoff just moments away. Elmhurst on top of the Illinois Wesleyan Titans by a score of 15-13 in the first half. The Blue Jays outgaining the Titans 219 yards to 165, 149 of those 219 through the air for the Blue Jays, 70 on the ground, 103 yards through the air with just 62 on the ground for the Titans. Brandon Bauer 8 of 14 for 103 yards, 2 scores, and 1 interception, has been sacked once. Orlando Hernandez, 10 of 22 for 149, 2 scores. His long, a 77-yard strike to Austin Hassan. Hassan doing the heavy lifting on that, one of his 2 catches for a total of 83 yards. Juwan Gaines has the other touchdown for the Blue Jays. That was a 7-yard strike, but Matt Brockman has been the stalwart, the tight end, picking up 42 yards on 3 catches, but a couple of big catches down in the red zone. Both teams have taken the field. It will be Tata getting ready to kick things off for the Titans. The Blue Jays had a little bit of a struggle in the last few minutes of the first half, turning the ball over. Hernandez forcing the ball downfield a few times, trying to pick up a quick score before the half, knowing that they were getting the ball. Gaines will be the deep man to return.
Yeah, pretty good first half if you're Elmhurst. You like what you saw. You got out to the, again, we kind of questioned them going for 2. That keeps us a 1-score game here, but you've got the leader getting the ball first. You're actually going to have the win in the fourth quarter, so I think it all stacks up pretty well for the Blue Jays here as we start the second half.
Gaines going to bounce this one out to the right.
Look out.
Split some tacklers. He's across the 30 up to the 32 or 33-yard line, so another solid return for Gaines. He took 2 of them for 45 yards in the first half, his long being a 27-yard return, and this one will rival that distance.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Gaines is explosive. You got to be careful with him, and he's had a couple nice returns here, and he's set them up across the 30 all 3 times he's had an opportunity.
So Hernandez will set up in the gun. Brock Bethke, the single back with him. Bethke has been the preferred back through the first half of action. Bethke took the ball 5 times for 29 yards, and he will take it here on first down and pick up 2 or 3.
Yeah, again, you like to stay on schedule. You like to stay ahead of the chains. Bethke's got to see that he's got room to bounce there. He kind of hugs the line as he comes up. He's got room to get to the outside here. If he can see this, a quick step outside, and all of a sudden that turns into a quick 6 or 7 yard gain. But if you're Elmhurst, again, continue. The yards that you're able to get on the ground are positives because you're opening up the flats, you're opening up Brockman, and so Elmhurst really has done a nice job with their offensive game plan today.
And keep an eye on Brockman, right side of the line, but set up as an eligible receiver. Bethke still the lone back for Hernandez. And Hassan Austin split out wide to the left, the lone receiver on the left side. Hernandez will pitch this one outside for Bethke, and Bethke will be taken down for a gain of maybe 1. Flying in to make that tackle is the corner, Trevor Koepke.
Yeah, and again, we kind of talked about that play the first time. It doesn't really work like you want it to do against Wesleyan. It's really a read more than anything, but you're slow playing yourself more than you're slow playing Illinois Wesleyan. That time, if it's a quick pitch, he's got time to get outside and get a couple yards before he gets to Koepke. Instead, Koepke comes down, closes the window for gain, and forces him into 3rd and 7.
Yeah, 3rd and medium for the Blue Jays. They've done all right on 3rd down, 5 of 10 on the gain, so converting at 50%, looking to go above 50% here as Hernandez drops back, now steps forward, looking over the middle and overshoots his man. He was looking for Jacob Mimoser, but that one overcooked and sent well over the top of his head.
Yeah, and he had 2 other options. If you watch this again, Jawan Gaines is going to pop open, wide open here at the bottom of your screen. That's a 1st down and more, and it's really just it's a pick play with Brockman where they're both running drags underneath, trying to take off the defender on each other. Gaines never had a defender. If Hernandez can just look right in front of him, he's going to see Gaines with an easy 20-yard catch and run there.
So we'll see Mateo come back out to punt things away, punting into the wind. This one a high kick, but pretty good distance on it, coming forward to handle it and sliding through at the 42-yard line is Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
Pfeiffer, one of the players that turned the ball over for the Titans in the first half.
Yeah, you just can't have those high punts are nice going the other direction, but you saw it there. The wind just holds it. And so here's Illinois Wesleyan coming out for their first drive with only a 58-yard field to deal with. So this is going to be a lot of pressure on the Elmhurst defense right out of the gates.
The defense has done a pretty good job only allowing scores on the very first drive of the game for Bauer and the Titans, and then forcing 3 3-and-outs before the Titans could string anything together again.
That's Matisse Scott here with his first carry.
And Scott will pick up about 10 yards, 11 yards, give him the first down, and the Titans moving the chains right away. Surprised to not see Morgan Alexander in the backfield with Bauer to start off the second half.
Yeah, I mean, they have two usable running backs. Matisse Scott's got some experience. Only 21 carries coming into play this year. He is a little bit bigger back in that he stands at 5'11", 205, a little bit more of a bruising runner. So we didn't think we saw anything wrong with Alexander, but they're going to come out with the big man, Matisse Scott, again here on the second carry.
And they'll give to Scott on the first down once again. He runs through a few tacklers, picks up 7, but more than likely this one will be coming back with the flag in behind the play.
Yeah, I think this is a hold against the center, Mike Mulcrone.
Waiting on the call.
Holding, offense number 59.
And it will be on the tackle, Nick Monfordini.
Yeah, that's an all CCIW right tackle. You'll see it right here at the bottom of the line. He's tucked inside the tight end. He's going to try to seal, and he just hooks and holds the left arm of the linebacker there. That's the right call by the official. And really, with that kind of block, the hold's not necessary. It's really more of a scoop block. You're just trying to get underneath and get in his way and let Scott have the lane that's vacated when he has to step around you, but just a little bit too much there.
Matisse Scott stays as the single back on 1st and 21 for the Titans. Bauer fakes the give to Scott, avoids a tackler, now running up the middle, going to bounce it out to the left. Scott gives him a block, and Bauer will get close to the original line of scrimmage, give him 10 or 11 yards, and the Titans will get back closer to on track. He'll be facing a 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Ross Beck just a little bit too slow for the fleet-footed Bauer, trying to get him in the backfield. And then Matisse Scott does a great job of turning from receiver to blocker there. Opens up the alley for him to bounce it and really turn that thing upfield to end up with 12 yards.
So 2nd and 9 for the Titans, back into Blue Jay territory. Ball on the 46-yard line. Bauer out of the gun, Scott on his left hip. 3 receivers split out wide to the right. Give to Scott up the middle. He's got a lane, going to bounce it out to the left. It's going to be a foot race down the far sideline. Scott inside the 10, and he will be forced out of bounds at the 8-yard line. So a big gain for Matisse Scott. Gives the Titans a 1st and goal.
And Elmhurst had an opportunity there right at the point of attack, and they missed the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. And just a great seal block on the backside by the tight end, Ethan Emerson, that allows him to go back against the grain, and all of a sudden Illinois Wesleyan has a chance to take their first lead since they scored on the opening possession.
So the Titans 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. A big gain from Matisse Scott, and the Titans on the doorstep. 2 receivers split out wide to the right. Scott, the lone back with Bauer. Ryan shifts in motion to the left side, throw up the middle, and that'll be Jack Healy for another touchdown, his second of the game.
Yeah, all 3 Illinois Wesleyan touchdowns just coming from inside leverage plays. That time Healy was able to get inside the corner. Actually, I think he drew coverage from the safety there, and just an easy release. I mean, if you're going to jam Healy, you've got to really stick him, and Healy's just too big of a target. If anything, I think you almost want to go inside leverage as a corner there and force them to throw over the top. It's a tougher throw for the quarterback on a windy day like today, but that's too easy if you're a defender letting that wide receiver get off the line that easy. So now they're going to go for 2, try to get this thing back to a 6-point lead as they lead 19-15.
And if the Titans can convert, it will put pressure on special teams for the Blue Jays to convert if they are able to get back into the touchdown. Bauer takes the snap, gives it to Scott. Scott stretching out wide to the left, cuts back inside, and he will not get it.
Yeah, that's just great. Great job by the Elmhurst defense, pushing that play to the sideline, really stretching it out. And again, they hold on the 2-point conversion. And just like that, the Titans quickly here, not even 4 minutes into the second half, get a stop, get a score, and they're on top by 4.
So the scoring drive for the Titans takes 3 minutes and 50 seconds for Healy to get into the end zone on a 6-yard touchdown catch. His 3rd reception of the day, his 2nd touchdown of the day. 3rd touchdown for Brandon Bauer. But the Titans unable to stretch this one and put any more pressure on the Blue Jays. They'll still have to get into the end zone to regain the lead, but no pressure on the point after or a 2-point conversion or anything like that if this one takes down to the wire.
Yeah, and again for Elmhurst, it's just a matter of it's still games that just still a touchdown away. Don't change what you're doing. You've been pretty successful through the first half. Get back to taking that throw to the flats, using Brockman up the middle. You don't have to change anything here. Just keep doing what you did so well in the first half.
And give credit to Matisse Scott on that scoring drive for the Titans, doing most of the heavy lifting with the primary back, Morgan Alexander, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and again, you hope he's okay, but you've got a more than capable backup there with Matisse Scott.
Gaines handles this one on the 6-yard line. Going to try to bounce to the right side, feeling the pressure. He's barely get across the 15, give him the 18 or 19-yard line. So Gaines nowhere to go. Spectacular coverage by the Titans on that kickoff.
Yeah, that time they just got behind the blocking, and here's you see the 2-point conversion again. Just an excellent job of stringing it out, staying in their lanes, and really forcing that back. And we talked about it when Elmhurst initially tried to go for 2 and get that to a 10-point game and didn't get it, is that Illinois Wesleyan doesn't have to reach too deep into the playbook. They run the ball so well that they can just run it at you to try to pick up a 2-point conversion.
Hernandez will come back out to lead the Blue Jays. It'll be Jawan Gaines in the backfield with him.
And again, this is an opportunity for a mismatch if they can get him into the pass route.
Man coverage on the outside, going to have safety help. It's a give to Gaines, but he's got nowhere to go. In fact, he's going to lose a yard back to the 18-yard line.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's really using his athleticism the best way you can. That's just a misdirection counter, and Krzyzkowski just does a nice job of stretching that play and really reaching out and slowing him down and allowing the defense to close the hole that was there. But he's a guy that you probably want to get moving when you get him the ball. Getting him out of a standstill isn't the best way to use the speed and explosiveness of Jawan Gaines.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Gaines and maybe a play-action formation, get him out to the outside, moving in open space, take off the top of the defense.
Correct.
Hernandez out of the gun. It will be Bethke to his right. Fakes the give to Bethke, but getting in there quickly. Believe that's going to be Chance Hilliard picking up another sack. Hernandez nowhere to go. Hilliard not fooled at all by the play action.
Yeah, and Hilliard just beat the block. That's as simple as it gets. Just beat the block of David Michaels and was into the backfield before that play could develop. Illinois Wesleyan looks like here in the second half they're going to try to keep the gas down a little bit more defensively. Felt like they got put on their heels a little bit more. That time they brought a 5th that really gummed up the line, and now all of a sudden Elmhurst back in 3rd and long where they're not really at their best.
3rd and 17 from the Blue Jay 12-yard line. Blue Jays need to at least get a couple yards to run a full punt unit. Gets it off to Hassan Austin, and this time the Titans able to wrap Austin up. Remember, Austin's 77-yard touchdown came on a 3rd and 14 from deep in their own territory. So the Blue Jays pick up enough to get back to the original line of scrimmage and run a full punt unit. but can't get anything going on their first offensive possession.
Yeah, that's actually the same play they scored on. They just run the trip set on a clear out and bring Austin. It was actually Juwan Gaines that was on that drag the last time. But Illinois Wesleyan was a lot more aware that time. They sat the safety at home. They knew he was coming underneath. There was no real, they weren't really fooled there, and they were just easy to rally to the tackle.
Casanova punting into the wind. Not a great punt. That one will go out of bounds off the far sideline. See where it gets marked. Referee running down inside the 40 to the 35-yard line. So a very short field for the Titans looking to extend this lead.
Yeah, this is really where you see the depth between teams that are in the top 25 start to wear down their opponents. It happens in special teams. And Casanova's having a really rough day with the punting game. He's just not able to get much depth. That's a kick that ultimately only nets them maybe 12 yards of field position. And it doesn't help him that most of his punts have been going this direction, but they've got to figure out a way to get something going, because right now the punt game is not doing them any better than a Hail Mary.
Bauer takes the snap out of the gun, fakes the give to Scott, rolling out right, looking downfield. Going to go near sideline, looking for Healy, but that one tails out of bounds. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, give Bauer a lot of credit. He knew he was going to take a hit there, but he tried to give his wide receiver enough time to break open. Here you see it coming in late. He knew he was taking the shot, but he's giving Healy time to get open and maybe open that thing up, but that's just good defense by the Blue Jays.
2nd and 10. And we'll see pretty much the same package of players that we saw on first down. Bauer's out of the shotgun. Scott in the backfield. They're going to have Anthony Ryan, both Ryan and Emerson, shifting across to the right side of the formation.
Yeah, they don't need to overthink it. They've got the run game going, and they go back to Matisse Scott on a misdirection, and I think that might be overthinking it, because you give the linebackers time to read where the guards are moving to, and they rally to the ball for a loss of 2 here. And now it's 3rd and long for the Titans.
3rd and 12 for the Titans. Wind at their back, so if they pick up a few yards, even if they don't get a first down, you might see them try for a field goal, which would bring this back to a 7-point game.
Well, you've got to keep in mind, Wesleyan has struggled just as much with the kicking game as Elmhurst has. They've changed kickers twice. They've gone from the senior Schiarini to Tata back to Schiarini. So this is probably 4-down territory, I think, for the Titans.
Bauer out of the gun, steps up in the pocket, dumps this one off to Scott. Scott, stiff arms, gets up to the 25-yard line, stays in bound across the 20. He's got a first down and more before he's forced out of bounds, and a fresh set of downs for the Titans.
Excellent job by Bauer to buy enough time to get the running back clear underneath here, and then they just lost contain. That's Joe Nixon's job to really bring him to the middle linebacker and pass him off, and he got lost dropping into pass coverage, so it comes down to Storm Miller, who can't make the one-on-one tackle, and all of a sudden Illinois Wesleyan in business again inside the red zone, 1st and 10.
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Scott the single back. Bauer takes the snap, fakes the give to Scott, going to take it himself to the right side, picks up maybe 4 or 5, but there's a flag down thrown in the area of the line.
Yeah,
and Rusty, you're signaling hold.
That's the senior. You can give 2 points to Chris Collins for the takedown there. He just wrestled his man to the ground, and that's a pretty easy call there. That's coming back for a 10-yard walk-off.
7 minutes, 17 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Rusty, you called it a hold on the senior Collins.
You're going to see it right in the middle of the replay here. 65 just takes him to the ground, and that's as easy as they come for the officials.
This one will be walked back 10 yards. 1st and 20 coming up for the Titans. Going to negate a decent chunk of that Matisse Scott gain.
And again, if you're Illinois Wesleyan, don't overthink it. Just stay with what you've got going here. Probably just keep chipping away at the run game, and now Morgan Alexander back into the game for the first time here in the 2nd half.
So a good sign for the Titans that Morgan Alexander is able to return. Fakes the give on 1st down. Bauer stepping up and a shoestring tackle. He is brought down.
That's Beck, and he got beat the first time, and he almost got beat again, but the literal shoestring tackle just grabbed the shoe and brought him down.
Yeah, you'll see Bauer's foot just trailing a little bit. Beck lays out, grabs that left ankle.
Yeah, that was his chance. He had that grab where Bauer was going to take off and escape the pocket.
So a loss of 2 on the sack from Beck. Now a 2nd and 22 as the Titans keep moving back now from their own 27. Morgan Alexander stays in the game. Two receivers split out wide to the right, both Ryan and Emerson on the left side of the formation. Speed option, Bauer pitches it outside to Alexander. Alexander will get back to the original line of scrimmage and no farther as he goes down inbounds. Clock will roll.
Yeah, that's just poor assignment football for the Blue Jays there. They just had nobody out there, but they were able to rally and force them to the sideline enough that you get a 3rd and 10 here, that this is going to be important for them to hold them here to a field goal opportunity.
And easily back in field goal range, even with the issues that the Titans have had this year. Wind at their back, this would be about a 32-yard attempt if they get no further. Alexander still in the game on the left hip of Bauer. Two receivers split out wide right, one to the left. Ziglich goes in motion, shifts into the slot. Bauer rolls out right, looking back left, has the screen. Alexander has it, has space, going to bounce it out left. Caravan of blockers, and he is into the, he's going to be down on the 1, rolled into the end zone, but rolled down shy of the goal line.
Just an excellent play design by Illinois Wesleyan. They run the sprint out to the right side, set up the screen behind it. It's easy for the 10 yards, and sure enough, the left knee came down at the 1 as he was. That's tough, but from that angle that we have to see it. But I think that's probably the right call by the official. 1st and goal from the Titans here, trying to give themselves a 2-score game for the first time today.
Blue Jays trying to hold tough and push the Titans back a little bit, hold them to a field goal attempt. A field goal keeps this at a 1-score game. Morgan Alexander still in the backfield. Ryan shifts to the right, will act as a fullback, give to Alexander. He stretches out wide right, and he will walk into the end zone untouched. Titans go up by 2 scores, 25-15, with the point after pending.
Yeah, and we talked about the advantage for Elmhurst was that they were going to be having the win at the 4th quarter, but the problem is they've got the win in the 3rd quarter, probably when they need it. Illinois Wesleyan had closed the gap there at the end of the half. Elmhurst was able to not let them even it, but going into the win to start the 3rd quarter when you've got the ball, is tricky. That's probably one where they would prefer to have the win at their back so that they don't have that problem with the punting game that they've been having. But Illinois Wesleyan seems to have figured it out. We talked earlier that they were going away from the run game for the sake of balance when they didn't need to, and you're just seeing right now what's been so effective for the Titans.
The kick is up and good from Schiarini. 11-point game here at Langhorse Field. The Titans on top of the Blue Jays 26-15, 4:39 to play in the 3rd quarter. And the Blue Jays, who look so good closing out the 2nd half, now have a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, and again, the problem is that they're going to have to pick up a couple first downs if they want to get the wind shift. But they've got to get back to what they were so successful with in the first half. They've got to get the ball into the flats on those quick hits. They've got to look for Brockman up the seam. They've got to find a way to just continue to move the linebackers for Illinois Wesleyan. Right now they're kind of trying to just run right at them. And when they are passing, they're long developing passing plays that's allowing Illinois Wesleyan to get disruption. Go back to that quick hit game that you were successful with and keep this defense on their heels.
Tata comes out. We'll check the Elmhurst setup, see if they can pull a fast one, but good discipline from the Blue Jays.
Tata getting ready to kick it away. Gaines back deep for the Blue Jays.
Gaines, the lone deep man. Tata sends this one downfield. Gaines will handle it at the 7-yard line. Immediately moves to his left, cuts back into the middle, and he will be taken down just across the 20, give him the 22-yard line of forward progress. And the Titan coverage team on these kickoffs has looked much better in the 2nd half.
Yeah, the difference is they're keeping their lane integrity. They're not sucking into the spot where they think the ball's going. They're staying spread out. And they're doing a nice job as we look around the conference. Carthage pulling away from Milliken 38-19. That's going to give Milliken their 2nd loss and leave a head-to-head tie with Illinois Wesleyan and North Central at the top of the conference. If that score holds, North Central housing Carroll 48-13. There's some other games to watch that's going to play a role in Illinois Wesleyan's postseason hopes that we'll get to as well. But here they try to take advantage and set up the screen to Holloway.
Holloway has some room in a caravan of blockers. He will take it about 11 yards, pick up the first down. So pretty good play design just to get the chains moving, get Hernandez a little bit more of that confidence back.
Yeah, the other score in the CCAW, Augustana leading North Park in the Battle of the Vikings, 14-10 there in Rock Island.
So fresh set of downs, 1st and 10 now from the 33-yard line for the Blue Jays. Hernandez with Holloway and Bethke on either side of him. Bethke will motion up into the left side of the formation, give to Holloway up the middle, and he will pick up 3 or 4, give him the 37-yard line, gain of 4 on first down.
It's a nice block by the right guard, David Michaels, to start that hole. You're going to see number 71 here working against John Nolan right there. They really push the tight end or the defensive end down to open up that hole. That gets it to 4 yards. That's probably their best first down run today. So we'll see what this is a little bit more of what we expected or what we saw in the first half from Elmhurst. Continue to get what you can on first down, stay ahead of schedule, and get the ball out of the quarterback's hands faster.
3 receivers paired up with Brockman. Bethke, the lone back. Brockman in the left slot. Hernandez looking left the whole way, and that one hits Son Austin in the hands, but he cannot secure the catch. Would have set up a 3rd and 2, but instead another 3rd and medium for the Blue Jays.
Second time we've seen it from the Blue Jays. They get that quick hitter right where they want it, and it ends up being a drop. The first time was McKellar. That time it's Austin. That's a big one because that's probably at least 3rd and short, if not able to run, just to kind of roll forward for a first down. That one hit him right in the breadbasket and fell through. So 3rd and 7 here for the Titans or for the Blue Jays, and something you have to pick up at this point.
Bethke in the backfield. Keep an eye on Brockman in the right slot. That's the seam route that we've seen him run and have some success with. Hernandez drops back, rolls out to his left, keeping his eyes downfield. He's going to pick up a few, and he's going to get the first down up to the 45-yard line. Good job by Orlando Hernandez.
Terrific job by his line to roll with him. That was probably the most impressive thing. It's well protected, but you see them then start to roll with, and the tight end leaks out. The wide receivers turn into blockers, and there you see the shiftiness of Hernandez. He's at his best when he's able to escape the pocket like that and pick up a first down. He actually had Mammiser break free around the 45 of Illinois Wesleyan late in that play. But by that point, he had already committed to the run.
Yeah, and a great jump cut from Hernandez, getting around Brandon Wilkie. Looked like Wilkie had him wrapped up short of the marker. Hernandez.
This is where they've been going to Brockman, the tight end.
And they will do that right away for a 6-yard gain. Just a nice get to the spot, stop, turn. Brockman is there, the big body able to shield off any defenders.
Well, what it is it's a formation mismatch. When you set up your tight end in the middle of that trip set, he naturally is going to work himself into a window because right now Illinois Wesleyan is just playing a relaxed cover 3. So what they're getting is there's big gaps underneath with the linebackers, and Brockman is just kind of looking at how the defense is setting up and then finding the window that he wants. They were running seam that time. They sit him down in front of the safety, and it's just easy pitch and catch.
Hernandez out of the gun, sends it out wide to the right side.
Pass is complete far side.
And it will be a pickup of about 3.
Yeah, it's going to leave a yard. Nice job by Mammiser to come back a step to the ball. And really what Elmhurst is so good at with Brockman is it's not necessarily execution, it's scheming. And that they do a great job of lining him up where he naturally is going to have a mismatch. You see a lot of tight ends maybe in the backfield on the hip of the tackle, or they've got their hand in the dirt. Brockman's a bigger target standing up, and they just find ways to line him up in mismatches.
We'll see the same formation on 3rd and a yard. Blue Jays working into Titan territory, sending it out across to the right flat, and Brockman can't hang on to that one. So 4th and 1 and decision time for the Blue Jays.
I think if you're Elmhurst, you're going for it. I don't know why, and they're going to send on the punt unit. The punt unit hasn't given you any yardage other than the fake punt. That's really been all they've been good at. They're actually not even going to send Casanova out there anymore. This is going to be Bailey, who's been the kicker. But you're 4th and a yard. I mean, you're across midfield. The wind's about to shift. You've got to give yourself a chance here. I mean that it's not hard to run a power or a quarterback sneak and try to get a yard. It seems a little too conservative for Elmhurst, they were rolling the dice in the first half, and now not so much.
And Bailey drops the snap initially, but still gets off a pretty good punt.
That's the best.
Drives that one down inside the 20. Will roll out of bounds right at the 20-yard line.
That's the best Elmhurst has done kicking that direction. And it's only 25 yards or so. That's probably as good as you're going to get kicking into the wind today. But a little disappointing to see Elmhurst not try for that on 4th and a yard.
Yeah, especially with the way Bethke's been able to pick up about a yard regardless of where they run him, and with an athletic quarterback such as Orlando Hernandez, you'd like to see them roll the dice a little bit, take a shot. But keep in mind, 1 minute, 8 seconds left in the third quarter until the shift. in field and the shift in wind as well.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if Illinois Wesleyan tries to take a shot here. They've got a problem because they've got single coverage on Healy, and the safeties are both walked into the box.
And it will be a give to Scott on first down. He's tripped up after a gain of about 4. The ball came out, but
I think that was ground forced.
Yeah, they're going to rule Scott down, and the clock will run inside a minute.
Elmhurst has to be careful because they're committing to stop the run right now by walking 8 into the box. But by doing so, you're putting your corners in a whole lot of trouble with Healy. Right now, it's Tristan Bolus underneath that's drawing coverage. If they look to that again, and this is really the formation for Illinois Wesleyan where they caused the biggest problem, is they line Healy up in a slot, so he's going to draw safety or linebacker coverage. This time it's going to come from the safety. But they've got nobody over the top on the high side of the field.
Bauer takes the snap out of the gun, looks left, and that will be a first down for the Titans. Zach Walsh pulling down that one, 6'2", 190 sophomore from Glenbard East High School.
And Bauer does a nice job throwing back shoulder balls. It's really a staple of the Illinois Wesleyan offense when they can get man coverage and the safety can't get there in time. That's an easy, it's really a first down pickup play for them with their big wide receivers. But the thing you have to watch is when they hit that enough times, all of a sudden that opens up a stop and go when you've got man coverage. All he has to do is really sit for a second and then break free, and you have nobody over the top because the safety rolled way over that time for Elmhurst.
And that will take us to the fourth quarter. So the Titans not really taking a shot like we expected them to do, and now will be playing into the wind the rest of the game. However, they do have an 11-point lead with 15 minutes to play in regulation here at Langhorse Field. Once again, you're watching Blue Jay TV. I'm Nate Stein alongside Rusty Lindsay.
Coming here as a Division III player, you're coming here to get your degree. We have some players that go on to be professional athletes. They've gone overseas, but that's not the norm. Our players are coming. They're finishing their playing careers here, and so whenever they're done, they're being prepared in something else other than just basketball. So for us, that's the student-athlete model. You come in, you're working hard. Our players put in as much time as a Division I player does, but it's because they want to be there. I know that from motivating our players, if they're coming to practice, I know that they're working hard because it's out of them, not just because we've got a dollar sign, they have to do it, this is how they have to stay in.
Welcome back to Langhorse Field. Once again, I'm Nate Stein with Rusty Lindsay. You're watching Blue Jay TV. The Illinois Wesleyan Titans looking to extend their lead here over the Blue Jays, and a give on first down to Alexander will pick up the first down and get the Titans up to midfield.
Yeah, the biggest thing for Illinois Wesleyan, just the rushing yards. I mean, into halftime, they had 13 carries for 62 yards. Now they've got 21 carries, so they ran the ball 8 plays there, getting about 80 yards. And the big one, obviously, coming with Matisse Scott on the 40-yard carry that got him to set up the go-ahead touchdown. But I mean, Illinois Wesleyan really dominating things in the third quarter. 132 yards of offense to just 35 for the Blue Jays on the same number of plays.
Bauer out of the gun, takes a snap, looking left, and has Zigalich, and a nice catch by Zigalich with a man right on him. That was Bolus providing the coverage, but Bolus just couldn't get his head around in time.
Yeah, I don't know that Bolus really was that's the problem. I don't know that he ever saw the ball. He turned and ran with the receiver. The ball was delivered before he ever really reacted. And so, but you continue to see Illinois Wesleyan taking advantage of these inside releases. Elmhurst is really not doing a good enough job of making these wide receivers earn that cut.
Alexander remains the lone back next to Bauer. Bauer takes a snap, fakes the give, and another quick slant inside. This time it's Healy and another Titan first down.
Yeah, it's there all day. I mean, they're continuing to get inside release. That time Healy was losing his balance at the point of the catch, but just the run fake brings the safety down and opens up that window. Elmhurst had the scheme right, that they had the safety sitting right there, but the safety comes down on the play fake and opens up Healy. And I think right now Illinois Wesleyan's kind of loosening the jar for them to just pop the lid here and maybe take a shot downfield.
And that's a tough assignment for Tyler Hoseman, giving up 7 inches and 20 pounds.
Here's Bauer on a keeper. And they've just got them schemed right at this point. That everything Illinois Wesleyan does, they have it schemed right. So it's just terrific halftime adjustments is what we're seeing.
Yeah, a pickup of 8 on first down on the quarterback keeper. And the Titans just look like they're rolling, and the win factor may not even come into effect here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why we didn't see Illinois Wesleyan take that shot that we talked about at the end of the third quarter, is they didn't necessarily need to. They've got the ground game going to the point where they don't really need to hit the big one. and they've got this Elmhurst defense on their heels.
Two receivers spread out wide right for the Titans. Bauer takes the snap, fakes the give to Alexander. Now he's going to roll out right, got plenty of space, looking downfield. Pump fakes, going to take it himself, stretches the ball out, and it looks like he's going to pick up the first down. We'll see where they spot him. It's going to be right at the marker.
Yeah, he stretched it. His knee went down behind the marker, but he didn't really have an official at the spot. He's going to be about a yard short. Elmhurst actually did a great job blitzing into that play as they blew up the play fake and Alexander, and Bauer had to escape the pocket. So this is going to be a big one. I don't expect Illinois Wesleyan to overthink this. Just give the ball to 26 and get your yards. Yeah, here comes the tight end. Look for them to set up the two tight ends on the same side and just power run behind them.
Yeah, we've seen Anthony Ryan as essentially a fullback in a lot of these formations. We'll see more of the same, but first a timeout for the Titans.
Yeah, the play clock was down to 1. So that time they had one tight end in the backfield, and then the tight end Emerson was on the line to the right side. So again, like we talked about, when you look at these two tight end sets, there's going to be a run 80% of the time for Illinois Wesleyan. So they're not going to overthink this. Just going to power right ahead as Carthage adds another touchdown on Milliken, really turning that thing into a rout. And again, for Illinois Wesleyan's sake, it brings them into a head-to-head lead for the conference. They're the only two teams with one conference loss. And again, obviously North Central would have that tiebreaker, but for the Titans, their postseason, you look at it in a lot of ways for Illinois Wesleyan, comes down to the last week of the year when they host Milliken, and that's going to be a big one for either one of those teams, because Milliken's a team that's still a 6-1. They've got a win over Wheaton when Wheaton was ranked. Wheaton's going to be a regionally ranked team. This one's going to hurt them quite a bit, because that's going to be two very lopsided losses to regionally ranked teams, and then just the 4-point win over Wheaton. So Milliken's record at this point might keep them in. Their other loss this year, they do have a win over Rose-Hulman, who will likely stay in at the bottom of the regional rankings, you would expect. So Milliken's got a shot to be regionally ranked, which actually helps the CCIW and Illinois Wesleyan quite a bit.
Yeah, and just such a weird year in CCIW football. Everybody beating up on each other. It's mostly what we see out of the WIAC every year.
Yeah, this is going to be run to the left side.
Bauer takes the snap, gives to Alexander. He's got a hold, runs up the gut, picks up the first down. The Titans keep the chains moving.
Yeah, tight left, motion the second tight end to the left side. You're really daring Elmhurst to beat you man-to-man. You're telling your offensive line that you have a battle to win with the guy across from you, and you trust your guys to do it. Schematically, there's nothing fancy. It's just power football right now from Illinois Wesleyan.
So the Titans with a fresh set of downs at the 16-yard line. 1st and 10. Alexander stays in the game. So after a healthy dose of Matisse Scott to start off the half, it's been all Alexander ever since. Zieglich goes in motion. He'll take the handoff across formation, spreading out to the right, gets the first down inside the 5-yard line. Give him the 4, and it will be a 1st and goal for the Titans.
And then they've actually used the Gulich a lot more than they have already this season. It's a pretty high usage game for him, and he's been very effective for them. That time, just get him quickly out to the outside, trust your guys to reach. The wide receivers do a great job blocking downfield. And if you're Illinois Wesleyan right now, this is driving the nail in. They could essentially seal this thing with a touchdown right now. The way their defense is playing, this could be the stand that Elmhurst's last stand here if they can get a stop.
Bauer takes the snap, design quarterback run, nice juke, and he is into the end zone to extend this lead, and that could be a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that's going to make things very difficult for Elmhurst at this point. And the biggest thing we're seeing is not just Illinois Wesleyan asserting themselves on the ground and doing so more often, but that Elmhurst was making tackles in the first half that they're not making now. They were making point-of-attack plays that you're just not seeing. And part of that, you've got to give more credit to the Illinois Wesleyan offensive line, is they're a lot more secure in their coverage, and that they're just not letting guys get off of blocks as well.
We'll see Schiarini come in to attempt the extra point, 32-15, pending this play, as the Titans looking much more comfortable in the second half.
Yeah, this is what you expect the number 11 team in the country to do.
Schiarini's kick is up and good, so it will be a 18-point lead for the Titans as the Blue Jays look to chip into this one a little bit. 3 scores are going to be what it takes.
Yeah, and we mentioned there are a couple of games outside of the CCW that Illinois Wesleyan fans should probably be keeping their eye on. One of them happening in the NCAC earlier today with Wittenberg beating Wabash, giving Wabash a second loss. So that's another team that's not gonna block Illinois Wesleyan. You wouldn't think, and it really for Wittenberg at this point, you've got the conference on lock, assuming you don't trip up in the last couple of weeks here. 8-0 Wittenberg is going to go off the table as an AQ, so they're going to be ahead of Illinois Wesleyan in the regional rankings, but they're not going to be at the table. So for Illinois Wesleyan, you want the teams ahead of you to win. You want North Central to win out. You want Wittenberg to win out. You want Mountain Union to win out, because you don't want any surprises if you're Illinois Wesleyan, because right now the Titans are set up to come to the table pretty quickly in the North region.
Getting ready to kick it away. Gaines back deep for the Blue Jays.
Tata getting set to send this one deep. Gaines the lone returner.
The other problem for Wesleyan is if North Central doesn't win out, you assume it's Carthage that beats them. That really hands the conference to Wheaton at that point.
Line.
Gaines takes the kick, and this time a little bit better return, the best we've seen in the second half. He'll get up to the 29, and a 71-yard field coming for the Blue Jays.
And now Elmhurst has to get away from their game plan. When they were able to kind of methodically move the ball and chip away and hit it 4 or 5 yards at a time, that's fine, that works. But now you're down 3 scores. You've got 10:50 to go with the wind at your back. You've got to get a little more aggressive. And Orlando Hernandez, his strength is those shorter passes where the window for air isn't as big. When you go downfield, his passing mechanics really limit what Elmhurst can do. And so it's going to be a little bit dicier situation for the Blue Jays.
Hernandez takes the snap, looking downfield, and just going to dump this one off to McKellar, but no good. That one incomplete as the ball well behind McKellar. Tried to slow his momentum down to make the catch, but couldn't get there.
Yeah, the other problem is right now the front four for the Titans are just dominating the line of scrimmage. They're not having to bring extra guys. You're seeing Dubose, Hilliard, Nolan even. That time, that's the first time we've really seen Nolan get into the backfield, and Krezikowski doing a nice job, just not really letting Hernandez stand in the pocket and deliver.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Dubose and Hilliard. Dubose with 2.5 first-half sacks. Just a spectacular day down the field for him.
Yeah, he's got 9 sacks on the year, a guy you expect to be an all-CCIW mention at the end of the year.
Hernandez will take the snap and gives up the middle to Bethke, and Bethke immediately swallowed up. That's Krezikowski.
Yeah, Krezikowski is eating lunch right now in the backfield for the Blue Jays. They just can't keep him out. That time he goes over Jeremy Allen, just steals his lunch money, bullies him into the backfield, and gets the tackle. I mean, it's not what they're doing isn't fancy. They're bringing their front four, and they're saying our 4 are going to whip your 5, and that's what they're doing right now. And now they actually check out to that 3-4 look that they've been doing on down and distance. They bring in Francis Urbanski as an edge rusher, and then it's Matt Siska in the middle, a smaller nose tackle.
Hernandez drops back, rolls right, looking downfield, has Hassan Austin wide open. He makes the catch, but there's going to be a flag down. Illegal touching will most likely be the call. As you see, the referee has his hat off, signaling Austin stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, and that's too bad because they got beat down the sideline because the corner fell.
Illegal touching, offense number 21. He ran out of bounds voluntarily and was the first one to touch the ball. That is a loss of down, no yardage. 4th down.
Yeah, and you see on the replay, Hassan Austin all alone. The coverage man, that was Gabenko, the strong safety, lost his footing as Austin went out of bounds, but very clearly did not force Austin out of the play. And Austin going out of bounds, coming back in all on his own, and that just takes away a massive gain.
Yeah, it's a freshman mistake. That's really all it is. You've got the freshman not really fighting hard enough to stay in bounds. But yeah, man did not get off the field there. And I'm a little surprised for Elmhurst they even chose to punt it knowing that they had the man, but nice job there by the Titans just to get the yardage. They're going to have an opportunity to re-kick it if they want. They had too many men on the field. But if you're the Blue Jays and you see that, snap it and fake it. Take your shot knowing that you've got another opportunity. You've got to just have your nerves about you to see that they've got too many men on the field. Snap it and throw the ball downfield if you can.
Yeah, and you have to imagine that the lack of recognition there is because Bailey, who's usually the place kicker, is in to punt in place of Mateo Casanova, not used to having that option with the penalty obviously about to happen.
Well, the other thing is you're just not used to it as a kicker. I mean, that's a play that you see Aaron Rodgers pull every Sunday, and quarterbacks are used to that kind of thing, whereas punters, you've really got the one-set mind of get into your rhythm, get your steps, and get the ball out on time.
So instead of re-kicking, they will just push the Titans back a few extra yards. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Illinois Wesleyan from the 36-yard line. And it will still be Morgan Alexander in the backfield alongside Brandon Bauer. Ziglich goes in motion to the right side. Now an overload over there. Give to Alexander, stretches out right, breaks a tackle, cuts up field. And had he broken through that one, he had a whole lot of turf.
See, in the first half, Hosman's been in the backfield and blowing up the point of attack here. This time, that's his job, is to be that guy that sets the edge on the high side. You're going to see number 9 come down from right here on the edge, and he gets pushed in. In the first half, he wasn't being pushed in. He was getting into the backfield. He was forcing the running back to bow back and get to the sideline. That time, he gets washed down, and it's almost a big play for Alexander, who has not had that big run that we're used to seeing him. He's just been methodically getting his yardage.
And give a ton of credit to freshman Storm Miller for making that touchdown-saving tackle. Give to Alexander again on 2nd and about 3. He gets 5 and will have enough for the first down.
And Storm Miller's, to your point, Storm Miller's been good since taking over at the linebacker spot. 28 tackles in essentially the 3 games he's played. I mean, he's going to be a good linebacker here for the Blue Jays, and he saved the tackle there. That time it was the senior Nixon who couldn't quite bring down Alexander in time, and it's another first down. Illinois Wesleyan going to be content. Give the ball to 26, give the ball to 21, and let the clock run and head home into your bye week.
And it will be 21 Scott into the game now, giving Alexander a little bit of a breather. 2 tight ends set. Speed option, pitch out to the left. Scott takes the pitch and will pick up maybe 2 yards before being run out of bounds.
And give Hosman a lot of credit there because he did his job. He forced the pitch and then kept fighting to the sideline. Elmhurst is supposed to have a guy here on the edge. It was Bolus who was way downfield, but Hosman forces the pitch and makes the play. It's a pretty tough play for a linebacker to make, but he does so and holds him to a 2-yard gain.
Clock running down towards 8 minutes here in the final quarter. Illinois Wesleyan looking to have this one well in hand, up 18 points.
And again, we talked about those other games. What we didn't mention is UW La Crosse is throttling Platteville right now, and that's going to give Platteville a second loss heading into their matchup against Whitewater. So that's another team that.
Oh my! What a catch by Jack Healy. He's had such a spectacular game, and just going up and mossing Jamari Wise there, the freshman, just a huge size advantage, staying at 5'11", Healy at 6'5". Well, and it shows there.
He's going against Victor Ogboborn. And we talked about it again. If you're not going to have safety over the help of Healy, then I don't know why they don't take those shots more often. Now, obviously, the run game's to the point where you don't need to, but that play's there. If you're not going to play safety over the top of Healy, he has the size advantage, and they tried to jam him, and Ogboborn lost it after the first touch, and Healy's just so physical. And, again, the safety's not over the top.
Bauer with the play fake on a bubble screen, gets it to Ziglich, and he will be just shy of a first down. It will be 3rd and a yard or 2.
Yeah, and as we were mentioning, the other thing that does for Platteville is it's going to bury them in the WIAC standings, because as it stands right now, if Whitewater wins out with 3 losses, including one here to Illinois Wesleyan, they're going to be the second-place team in the WIAC, so that's going to bury Platteville probably. La Crosse has a much weaker strength of schedule, playing Luther and Carroll and I forget who their third non-conference game is. So it really opens up very well for Illinois Wesleyan that Platteville's losing that game. And the Pool C, obviously at 9-1, looks good. The prospects look good for the Titans, but they keep looking better.
Alexander takes the give, stretched out wide right, and he will get inside the 10. So 1st and goal underway for the Titans. But you mentioned Whitewater possibly being the 2 seed out of the WIAC with 3 losses. And we a lot of times have seen a third team come out of the WIAC for the playoffs. So that could even open up the door for a third team out of the CCIW, depending on where everybody ends up.
If there's a year for the CCIW to get 3, it is this year. I mean, the strength of the CCIW this year with North Central, Wheaton, Wesleyan, Carthage coming up, Milliken coming up. I mean, the strength of the CCIW is as good as we've seen.
Bauer takes the snap, looking left the entire way, and has Healy, and that'll be Healy's 3rd touchdown of the afternoon, and this one has turned into a bit of a slaughter.
Yeah, Illinois Wesleyan found themselves at halftime. There's no doubt about that. That's just a simple. It's really an extended slant arrow combo. Is that you run the outside guy to the post, you run the inside guy to the corner, and if you're running man, you either pass them off or you're beat, and that's essentially what they did there. Just a post corner combo. Healy's so big, just put the ball in his radius and let him go get it. And that's exactly what he did. probably for a guy that's looking more and more like the CCIW Offensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, easily with 3 touchdowns on the outside. He's got to be coming up towards 100 yards, and it's just been absolutely devastating in the red zone for these Titans. Schiarini out to attempt the extra point. This one is up and good.
Yeah, if you're Wesleyan, the biggest takeaway for you today, especially on the special teams, is that your kicking operation has been so clean. That's an issue that they've had a ton of problems with the last couple weeks, as we've seen Elmhurst have problems with today. So you'll like to see that operation having the success they are today. As you mentioned, Healy, 6 catches, 3 of them in the end zone, 84 yards today. The 3 touchdowns. Bauer, 17 of 24 for 214. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, the other one going to Zach Walsh. Morgan Alexander's going to get his rushing average back over 100 yards a game. He's got 18 carries for 120 yards.
And Alexander also going to bump his yards per carry average ever so slightly, getting close to 7 per touch tonight.
Yeah, and the scary thing for the CCIW is Alexander's a junior. He has another year. I mean, he might be the best back in the league this year, and a very talented CCIW running back stable, and he's coming back for another year.
Tata out to send this one deep. Gaines will remain the lone return man. Back deep for the Blue Jays. 6.5 to play in this game. 40-15 in favor of the Titans, and they've really just pulled away and shown why they're top 11 team in the nation here in the second half. Gaines will get out to the 25 before he's swallowed up by a trio of Titan gunners, and the Blue Jays, plenty of work to do.
Well, the other thing we saw in the first half was Elmhurst seemed to be playing without consequence, and that they know they're a 2-5 team going against a ranked team at home. They rolled the dice on the fake punt. They rolled the dice going for 2. They played aggressively. Here in the second half, you're not seeing that. They punted on 4th and 1 from the Illinois Wesleyan 44. I mean, if you're going for the upset bid and you're playing that way in the first half, you've got to continue that, and it just seems to be a much more conservative play calling here from the Blue Jays in the second half. They just kind of lost the edge.
And as Hernandez looking near side, a late flag comes in looking for Brockman out in the flat.
Yeah, Gumeko just got there a little bit early. That's going to be pass interference against the Titans there.
So a bit of a break for the Blue Jays to start off this drive. Going to boost their field position a little bit.
Yeah, you see it here on the replay. Gubanko's just going to get there a little bit early. The ball is behind Brockman, but the contact coming to not let him get back to the ball, that's the biggest thing.
So now ball on the 29-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Blue Jays.
That's a tough play for Gubanko because you just expect that ball to be put on a pass like that. You expect him to put it on the target, so you're making a play assuming that he's going to have the ball targeting his body, and if it does, it's probably not pass interference. But the throw behind him exposes the body to the hit, and then that leads to the flag.
Hernandez takes the snap, drops back, looking downfield, sends this one down, looking for Austin.
Outstanding play. And there Gubanko
making up for it.
Yeah, Gubanko makes up for it there. But again, you've got to have the arm strength to drive the ball and lead him. Hassan Austin's got inside leverage here. If you throw that ball downfield, lead him. Let him make a play. Instead, he has to bring Austin back, which brings Gubanko back into the play, and he makes a terrific play.
2nd and 10 coming up for the Blue Jays. Better protection there from the front 5 for Elmhurst, giving Hernandez a little bit of space to look downfield, step up in the pocket. Just couldn't quite get it there to Austin.
Yeah, they're sitting back in this in a little bit more of this 3-4 look here, and just sitting in coverage and forcing Hernandez to beat him.
Bubble screen out to Mimosa, and that will be a pickup of about 9. 3rd and 1 coming up. So the Blue Jays able to chuck the Titans a little bit, but still need another yard. And this has to be 4-down territory at this point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. At this point, you're down to inside of 6 minutes left, trailing by 25.
Not going to get there, however, as Mimosa makes the catch out in the far side flat, picks up 2 or 3 yards and a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, and again, you look at Hernandez on the day now, 16 of 33, which is just shy of 50%, which is right at his career average. It's almost right at his season average because he entered play today at 50%. Just to beat a team like Illinois Wesleyan, you've got to be more effective.
Screen on the far side goes absolutely nowhere. In fact, loses a yard. for the Blue Jays. This clock runs down towards 5 minutes to play.
Yeah, the screen's not going to beat Illinois Wesleyan because they're not bringing pressure. That time they even dropped a defensive end, and they dropped him right into the screen. They only brought pressure with 2. You're rotating those front 3. I mean, you're not going to beat a team sitting in coverage with a screen pass.
Yeah, and that's the senior Josh Aiken, the second leading captain.
There's DuBose with his 3.5. I mean, there's your CCIW Defense Player of the Week, and now we've got a man down for the Blue Jays, slow to get up.
It looks like it's 75, Jeremy Allen, junior guard.
Now he's fine to get up. He's trying to tell the officials he just needed 1 second before they blew the whistle. So now he's going to have to check out, replaced by the freshman Cam Donaldson.
So 3rd and 16 for the Blue Jays. Brockman comes in motion, gets to the left side of the formation. Now the Blue Jays are going to take a timeout.
Yeah, we look around the conference. Milliken has closed the gap up in Kenosha, 45-27, though, in the 4th quarter, as Stepina runs for a touchdown there. North Central drops the 60 burger on Carroll with 5 minutes still to play, 60-21. The battle of the Vikings in Rock Island tied at 17. Looks like hard clock with inside of a minute. So North Park with the ball on the Augie side of midfield in the final minute of play.
And that one could come down to just a last-second field goal.
Yeah, and there's Augie's had enough problems with last-second field goal plays there in the last couple of weeks. You think about that Milliken game that got delayed about 5 hours 2 weeks ago, and then ended up coming down to Augie gets down to where they really needed to be, had a chance for a field goal to win it, and they get an offensive personal foul and miss a field goal. A chance to still looking for that CCIW victory of the Vikings.
3rd and 16 for the Blue Jays. Holloway, the lone back. 2 receivers on either side of the formation for Hernandez. Looking deep to the far side, looking for Brockman, but that is Kepke in coverage over the top. 4th and 16.
Yeah, and Illinois Wesleyan was rolling coverage to Brockman, who was split to the outside. It's the first time we've seen him split outside of a formation. Today they rolled the corner out, safety over the top, slid a linebacker over, and Hernandez was staring him down the whole time.
And the Blue Jays will go for it from their own 35. Need a pretty big play, but hey, we've seen them pick up a touchdown on a 3rd and 14.
This is the formation they ran that drag across the middle with Brockman on the inside of the trips, Hassan Austin on the high side, and they're going back to it.
And they will give it to Austin once again, but coming up to stick him shy of the 35 is Brenton Wilkie.
Yeah, and that's there's not a whole lot of plays for 4th and 16 to begin with, but that's not even giving yourself a chance. I mean, Hernandez was never looking to the trip side. He was waiting for Austin to get into the middle. Brenton Wilkie is waiting there just for the stick. I mean, that's a play that you got lucky with once because you missed coverage and missed tackle and you broke it for a big one. But after that, Illinois Wesleyan sat on it the second time to no success. And in that situation, that play is just never going to work.
Bauer out of the gun with Alexander on his left hip, and this should be just 26 the rest of the way in these final 4.5 plus.
Yeah, no surprises, and now that's just an idiotic penalty from Elmhurst.
Yeah, going after Bauer after he gives that one off.
LeVar Little's trying to be a fake tough guy there, trying to get a hit on the quarterback after he hands the ball off, and then he gives him a pop after the play is even over. You're going to see it on the replay there. You're going to see 41 commit to the quarterback there, just try to wrestle him down. I don't know that you're actually going to see it because it's right off screen. You see 2 get pushed in. That's just a dumb penalty from LeVar Little.
Yeah, the Titans not risking anything with Bauer, so it's Jack Warner quarterbacking for them on this final drive.
Yeah, and Warner's no slouch. I mean, he was a starting quarterback before he got his job taken away after the injury.
Yeah, 24 touchdowns to 8 interceptions back in 2015.
I mean, he's just as athletic as Bauer. He just hasn't, since the injury, hasn't quite regained his same form, and Bauer just straight up stole the job.
Warner takes the snap, goes outside to Bresingham, and Bresingham inside the 10 down to the 6-yard line. Yeah. 1st and goal for the Titans.
This is the number 2 offense here for Elmhurst. You're seeing Ryan Pasley in the backfield there, and then they drill it into Bresingham for his 6th catch of the year. And for the Titans, you just run the clock. You've got your number 2s in the game here on the front line as well. Seeing Karsten Anderson there at the left guard. Pasley, the back here, along with Warner.
And Pasley will take the give up the gut, runs into his own man, and is knocked down at about the 5-yard line. A pickup of 1. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Illinois Wesleyan, as healthy as they are, just kind of choosing to limit the damage and take this thing to the bye week. Late bye week for the schedule for Illinois Wesleyan, it just is what it is. So you've got an opportunity to rest some guys here on the last couple of plays and take this thing into getting a week off and get ready for a big game against Millikin. It's going to have a lot to say with the postseason opportunities for the Titans.
2nd and goal from the 5. Warner's going to keep it himself, take it up the gut, and he is into the end zone for a touchdown. Illinois Wesleyan extends this one even further, 46-15, pending the point after.
Yeah, and that's a touchdown Illinois Wesleyan feels good about. Jack Warner is a senior leader for this team. He was a starter, like we mentioned, injured, missed the season, lost his job. So he's a guy that's well respected by the Titans, and that's just a touchdown that they can feel good about getting for their guy. That's his first one of the year, and probably a long time coming for Jack Warner between touchdowns. I mean, you really think about that year he had in 2015 when he ran for 3 touchdowns as well as the 24 passing touchdowns, and that's just got to feel good. And it's a long road back from an injury like his. So you just feel good for Warner to kind of have that as something at the end of the recovery and make all that time and PT and everything else worth it.
47-15 after the extra point from Schiarini. And coming into half, this was a 15-13 game, and the Titans, like you said a little bit ago, just finding themselves. Excellent halftime adjustments from Normesh and the boys from Bloomington.
Yeah, 34 unanswered for the Titans, and there's really been no doubt here in the second half. I mean, they've limited the Blue Jays to next to nothing. The Blue Jays have the one time they crossed midfield offensively, they opted for the punt instead of going for it on 4th and 1. I mean, it's just been a dominating second half from Illinois Wesleyan, and that's a little bit to be expected. You're coming off an absolute war last week against Carthage. There can be a game that had big implications for the CCIW and your season, so there can be a little bit of a hangover effect when you come into that next week. Your opponent's got a 2-5 record, so there's a little bit of a natural letdown in focus that happens after games like that. But you've seen the Titans have been dialed in here in the second half.
Gaines bobbles the ensuing kickoff. Going to try to bounce this one outside. Breaks a couple tackles at the 15. Don't know how he got through there, but he will find his way up to the 25. Making something out of nothing is Juwan Gaines.
Yeah, and again, he's had a nice game. That's really been the bright spot for the Blue Jays. Is that you look at their offense in the first half, actually did a nice job moving the ball against the Titans. That return unit has given them good field position, but Illinois Wesleyan has just answered the call here in the second half.
So an extended huddle on the sideline for the Blue Jays before getting this drive underway. 2:49 to play in the fourth quarter.
At their 26-yard line.
Blue Jays going to try to make this one look a little bit better. Hernandez takes the snap, gives up the middle, and a pickup of about 5 or 6 for Ivers.
Yeah, Elmhurst kind of going to do the same thing here as they've got a man down at the end of the play.
Officials timeout on the field.
That's Chandler Cowan, the offensive lineman.
And you never like to see that, especially this late in the game that's all but decided. Two and a half left to play in this one. And all over but for the formalities.
Yeah, this the first of a triple header here on Blue Jay TV. The next broadcast coming your way after this, a 5:30 kickoff in women's soccer between Elmhurst and North Park, followed by an 8 o'clock men's game between the Blue Jays and the Vikings. Elmhurst will be back in action for football next week when they head down to Decatur to take on the Big Blue. 1 o'clock kickoff for that game. Again, Milliken trailing Carthage up in Kenosha 45-27.
Yeah, that game was still a decent amount of time left on the clock. You could still see Milliken try to mount a comeback. They've been a fairly prolific offense this season. We saw them put up 56 last week in a winning effort. So this is a Milliken team that definitely knows how to score, but a tough defense from Carthage.
If there's a team that can put points on the board in a hurry on the road like that, it's going to be Milliken. I mean, that offense is as high octane as you will see. Carthage, meantime, taking this win into the big one next week for them will be at North Central. I mean, if Carthage can go into Naperville and knock off the Cardinals, that's going to create chaos in the CCIW. It puts Illinois Wesleyan alone at the top, all of a sudden with a window to win the conference with that game against Milliken.
And it also creates a possibility if a couple more things bounce good or bad depending on your perspective for a 5-way tie at the top of the conference.
Yeah, what it really does with that game is opens the door for all chaos to break loose, because then an Illinois Wesleyan loss to Milliken, like you said, creates a 5-way tie atop the conference. So again, it's unlikely, as is probably the best way to put it. I mean, that's a pretty talented North Central team who has bounced back from the loss to Wheaton in a big way, putting up 54 last week and 60 this week. So they've got the offense rolling heading into that matchup with Carthage.
Hernandez takes the snap, looking out to the right side, but can't get it there to Derek Jones, the freshman from Springfield, Illinois.
And Jones, he just doesn't have as many reps. I mean, that's a footwork and a timing play as a wide receiver. You've got to get one step upfield, curl that thing back to the right spot so that throw can lead you upfield. Jones just doesn't have that kind of reps and that kind of rapport with Orlando Hernandez.
The Blue Jays will spread 4 out wide, 2 to each side. Hernandez takes the snap, gives up the middle, and that's Ivers picking up a couple, and that will bring up a 4th and 1 from the 35-yard line for the Blue Jays, and expect the offense to stay on the field.
Yeah, I mean, fourth and 1, you've got nothing to lose here. You might as well.
Hernandez getting the play in as the clock gets down inside 2 minutes to play, minute 50 up on the scoreboard. 3 receivers split out wide to the right, 1 to the left. Hernandez looking up the middle, and that one goes off the hands of 81, Theo Edens, the junior receiver from Bloomington.
Yeah, Hernandez just didn't step into that throw. You see him throwing it off his back foot, just trying to dart throw that into the window. So with the clock where it is, expect victory formation from Illinois Wesleyan. They can knee this thing out here with 1:37 left.
And Warner comes back in, assuming to do the duties. A little bit of personnel issues. The Titans not sure who they wanted to get out there.
Yeah, you always have that mix-up when you move on to your number 2s. But Illinois Wesleyan coming back out with their normal offense here. I suppose we shouldn't be entirely surprised by this move from the Titans.
Warner takes a snap, gives up the middle to Pasley. He picks up 3.
Pasley, the ball carrier.
And doing a little bit of clock math, I think they could knee it out. They might go for the first down just to get it.
They can knee it out if they want it.
They're probably just going to give it up the gut to Pasley 3 times, wait for this to run down. 16 seconds on the play clock, and Warner looking up there, just waiting for that to get down inside 5 seconds.
It's a little bit silly because you risk the chance of injury just in meaningless plays here. But it's also unlike the Titans to take the foot off the gas.
Pasley again, the ball
So give to Pasley again. He picks up 1 or 2.
They'll have to run one more play here.
And they can run it pretty quickly. As soon as the game clock gets under 40 seconds, they can run it, and that would be it. And now I think we will. Yeah, now we'll see victory formation. The Titans getting it set up.
Yeah, Warner can snap this whenever he wants to. And will, and that'll put the final touches on a pretty impressive second half here for Illinois Wesleyan. They left no doubt after a skeptical first half.
Yeah, Elmhurst unable to keep up, as you mentioned, about midway through the third quarter. That's really just the depth of a top 11, top 10 team in the nation coming through and showing on the road. Great second half adjustments from Norm Ash. Your final score here from Langhorse Field, the Illinois Wesleyan Titans 47, the Elmhurst Blue Jays 15. Titans improved to 8-1 on the season, stay near the top of the conversation in the CCIW.
Well, they keep themselves even now in a head-to-head tie with North Central with one loss in conference play. Obviously, that loss coming to North Central, so unless anything changes on North Central's end, they're not going to be able to win the conference, but that we'll worry about that next week if you're Illinois Wesleyan when Carthage heads into Benedetti Worley Stadium. You look at the stats here, Illinois Wesleyan 217 yards rushing after just 63 in the first half, so over 150 second half yards rushing, just 80 for the Blue Jays, 229 yards on 18 completions for Brandon Bauer. Hernandez 18 of 38 for 188. The final totals 62 plays for 446 yards for the Titans, 67 plays, 268 yards.
Yeah, and those numbers ridiculous on both sides, really, in different manners. When you think about the first half numbers, where the Blue Jays outgained the Titans 219 to 160.
Yeah, I mean, it really was the tale of two halves. Elmhurst seemed to go far more conservative in the second half, and Illinois Wesleyan just kept their foot down and really looked like the Titans team we kind of expected here today.
So that will do us here from Langhorse Field. Thank you for watching Blue Jay TV. For Rusty Lindsay, I'm Nate Stein. Have a good day.